gathering some more information on the BS going on in this country. Sorry, I'm a little late, but things are fluid and changing quickly. Give me 1 second to get us live on YouTube and Twitch, and then I will be right with you. I know. Holy market manipulate. I mean, I'm just saying, did I call it from the very beginning? Did I not say on Liberation Day, hey, I'm not going to freak out about this because I know he's manipulating the market? I said, this is now the 4th time he's done this and the most extreme time. That's what we need, an investigation into every single trade placed by anybody with any association to the Trump administration. Because, I mean, there's a very clear pattern of what is going on. Hold on really quick. I need to get us live on Twitch and YouTube, and I will be right back. Tap the screen. Let's get to 25K. I need to get oh my God. I can't do math. Don't judge me. 32 subscriptions to get back to 400. I used to have 600. If you would like to subscribe or buy subscriptions for others in the chat, please help me out with that. Okay, give me 1 second. Just going to focus and make sure I get us live on YouTube. Okay, here we go. Welcome, welcome. Happy Hump Day. Happy market manipulation. This whole country is a joke and no one will ever take us seriously again. I mean, not that they should have at this point. Not that I believe anyone was taking us seriously before today. I'm embarrassed to be here. What? Oh my God. I'm not even going to. I can't. There are no words. There are no words anymore. There just are no words for the absolute embarrassment that is this country. And well, let me just be clear. Not the people running this country are an embarrassment, and the people in cognitive dissonance that can't follow a line of logic and support this man, even as he runs our country into the ground, tells lies, manipulates, obfuscates, commits crimes in front of our faces. That's what I'm saying. There needs to be an investigation into every trade place. I don't care if it's a third cousin, anybody that has any association to Donald Trump, who shorted the market, who knew. I mean, imagine how valuable the information would be after 4 days of the market crashing and more days than that of Trump saying absolutely no negotiations. This is happening. I mean, literally people are on TV saying no negotiations, and then he backs down. I wonder who had that information. That is extremely lucrative information to have. Some might say priceless. You could, I don't know, build a fortune off of it. These are things I don't want to be right about, but very clearly people are shorting the market. Very clearly Trump is manipulating the stock market. It's so embarrassing. Trump does not care about anybody in this country but himself. We're almost let's get to 25K. Tap the screen. We're almost doing a great job. Why is it? I didn't know that was getting in the way. Hold on. Move these things down. Sorry. I could do this another time, but some parts of me are a perfectionist. Okay, whatever. I'll fix it later. Welcome, welcome. Well, death of China, Jared Kushner Navarro, all to blame, overbook. All death of China, Jared Kushner, Navarro, all to blame over book? I don't think they're to blame. I think Trump was like, go get me someone to justify the BS I want to do so I can steal from the American people. I mean, yeah, I don't know if they're to blame. I just think that's a justification. Definitely, Trump is to blame. None of these people would be doing any of this. Trump didn't ask for a book. I think you're telling the story wrong, Paul. It's not that Trump asked for a book. Trump has been obsessed with tariffs since the 80s. He's been talking about them. And when Trump got into office the first time, he had no economic advisors and was like, hey, find someone that aligns with my delusional version of economics that isn't real. And then Jared Kushner didn't have to go look at book titles on the internet. That's because he's an idiot and has no expertise in finance, but is now running a $2 billion Saudi hedge firm. So this is all because of Trump, period. And Trump has surrounded himself with sycophants, narcissists, pathological liars. None of these people are, particularly intelligent, or if they do know, right, if they know that Trump's an idiot, they're not willing to stand up to him. So it doesn't matter anyways. So for that, I mean, they're all cowards. Anyways, but I digress. We could talk about this forever. Let me get a drink of water. Hold on one second. So, in case you missed the absolute BS going on in this country, suddenly, while Trump had people on air doing interviews saying Trump will never back down from these, I don't like to say the word reciprocal tariffs because these are not reciprocal tariffs. These are completely fake tariffs based on BS math that have nothing to do with tariff rates. He just decided all of a sudden to back down to cave, which I think twofold, right? Obvious market manipulation, like we talked about 1 week ago today, was Liberation Day, and people were like, why aren't you watching it live? Why aren't we watching? And what did I say? You can go back and watch my live. We were all on 1 week ago, and I said, Trump is trying to move the markets so that people can short the markets. This is the fourth time and the most extreme time, and I'm not going to watch him live tell a series of lies so he can manipulate the stock market. I'm not going to get my blood pressure up over it. And now, 1 week later, after saying, I'll never back down, he suddenly, while he had people on TV doing interviews saying which is very confusing. There's no negotiations. Everyone needs to call him and negotiate. None of this makes sense. And now there's a 90-day pause. Here, let me pull this up because this is the embarrassing post, which it's kind of big. So let's see if we can enlarge it and just go through parts of it. Based on this is hilarious because, and let's be very clear, if you are under the impression that this is not going to damage us, it is, right? Our largest trading partner, where all of the products Americans buy, the majority is China. And we were at 104% tariffs on Chinese goods this morning. Now we're at 125%. So if you're under the impression that that we aren't going to pay taxes for billionaires and corporations, no, we still are. Goods from China are now tariffed at 125%. And tariffs aren't over, just to be clear, just the made up reciprocal tariff rates that were never real in the first place. Those rates are gone, but blanket tariffs of 10%, which will still drive us into a recession, are in place. So just to be clear, a bunch of people made a lot of money, shorted markets. The tariffs are still happening. Our largest trading partner, where all of our products come from that Americans buy, China, now we're at 125%. That alone will cripple our economy. And we still have blanket tariffs on people that weren't tariffing us at all. We still have 10% blanket tariffs. And also, and we'll get to this because that's why I was a little late. I was trying to add as many, actually, let me check on that. I was adding some clips to the end based on what had just happened. And so let's see how fast the iCloud has updated because that's what it depends on. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. So I do have, okay. Wow. It's mind boggling how sometimes the iCloud updates so fast and other times I'm like, where are the clips I added 2 hours ago? So let's read this and then we'll move on because the clips I just added are there. So yay. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets. Now, again, I want you to remember narcissists are just confessing while pointing at someone else. Right? There's no lack of respect from China to the world markets. Period. That is a lie. Now, there is from us. Trump is talking about his own crimes and pointing at China and saying, look what you did. And I actually have a clip I can't remember who it is, if it's the finance minister. I can't remember who was speaking in China. And actually, I don't think I recorded that clip. I recorded CNN talking about that clip because it was in Chinese and then it was translated. So it would have been boring to watch anyways. But basically, this man's correctly pointing out Li Kang, I think his name is. You guys created the global trade system. You guys created a system, asked us all to adopt our economies to it so we could all work together. And then you're screaming that we all took advantage of you. That is delusional. And this is delusion at its finest. I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States of America to 125%. That alone is going to crash our economy. I've talked about this before. But Trump saying we're being ripped off, we have something called mutually assured destruction. If China's economy fails, our economy is going to fail. Period. It's not like, we will have a trade war and one economy is going to be okay and the other one's not. That's not how it works. We will all fail. Ooh, why? We have literally no one tapping the screen. Let's tap the screen. Can we all get to tapping and can we all share the live with 10 people? Let's get some more people in here. Happy Hump Day. Happy Market Manipulation Day. Trump made somebody rich. Happy someone needs to immediately start investigating every single person's trades that Trump is allied with. Period. Because this is the biggest joke of all time day. What another great day to be in America. Happy we've lost, well, not that we had credibility on the world stage, but whatever shred of it was left is completely gone day. Thank you for sharing the live, Papa Rob. Thank you guys so much. Let's get to tapping. I think we can do much more tapping. I'm going to update this goal. We actually have a lot of interesting things. I have so many good things to show you. But sorry, it just, it's like whiplash. I had one show planned, then Trump's like, today is the day I will be manipulating the markets. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's just, and keep in mind, this is the fourth market manipulation by my account. The other ones were just shorter. It was like, hey, I'm going to do this. The weekend would go by and he'd be like, oh, never mind. Or a couple days. This was now 1 week of driving the stock markets down, driving people's retirement accounts down. Thank you, Papa Rob. Thank you for being so helpful. God, these weird text message frauds. Someone's just like, these toll text messages. You haven't paid your toll bridge. There are no toll roads in Arizona. So it's kind of stupid to continue sending weird fraud messages about toll roads. What in Arizona, are you guys getting these toll messages? We don't even have toll roads. I keep getting them in Arizona, like every single. I'm like, why am I being targeted? I'm literally getting like 4 a day. There are no toll roads here, so I don't think I owe any toll road money. Every time, like, someone's texting me, oh no, it's just someone trying to defraud me again. Thank you so much. Let me keep tapping the screen. We're almost to 50K. Let me update the gift goal, and then we'll continue talking about market manipulation / humiliation on the world stage day. God. I want to send up like flares into the sky. I'm going to start mailing random postcards to people in other countries and just being like, it's not all of us. We are please don't judge us all by this man. That's going to be my new like postcard writing campaign. It's not going to be for elections. I'm just sending them to random addresses in other countries and being like, we are not all dumb. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA. And so, wait, let me just start over again. Keep in mind, China didn't do any of this. This is Donald Trump listing out his crimes and accusing China of committing them. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown, let's just put it, based on the lack of respect that the United States has shown to the world markets, I'm hereby raising tariffs charged to, like, this is ridiculous, charged to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, the United States will realize that the days of ripping off China, I mean, if you interchange every time he writes China with the U.S. and the U.S. with China, then this makes sense. This is what they should be saying to us about what we have done. Thank you for subscribing, Papa Rob. Papa Rob in the chat. You're amazing. I appreciate you so, so much. I mean, quite literally, that's how this insane post would make sense. If we interchange the words China and United States, then it's true. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or susceptible. Maybe read this to yourself in the mirror, Trump. Maybe that's the point we're at now.
Paper is more sophisticated.
Like, am I losing my mind? Who bought all these? Thank you, Papa Rob. You bought the giveaway subs. You just made my day. Thank you so, so, so much. Papa Rob, he just bought 5 subs. So thank him in the chat if you got them. That's awesome. You're amazing. Anyways, sorry that we have to meet on such bad terms. China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or susceptible. Conversely, I love a transition. And based on the fact that more than 75 countries prove it, have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, if that's true, and these so-called reciprocal tariff trade negotiations were going so well for you, then why would you pause them? Oh, because this was market manipulation in the first place? Can you make it make sense for any of us, please? I mean, Trump is very clearly not smart, but some of our brains still work. This is exactly why Trump was literally a lifetime, like, Democrat. This is why he had to move right, because no one on the left would believe this. Could you imagine reading this and being like, yeah, Trump did it again? People on Fox News right now are like, Trump outsmarted them all. Like, how dumb or how much of a liar or the combination of the two do you have to be to say those things? I'd be like, there's no amount of money. This is why I don't have money. When I worked in corporate America, I realized, I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I have to tell lies. And like, the most freeing thing, I will take having no money, and like, if people like the content I make online, subscribing to me any day over having to just swallow a bunch of lies and parrot them back. Like, I can't look myself in the mirror when I have to do that. Let's see, where are we on all these lies? God, this is the longest sentence. This is all one sentence. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries prove it, have called representatives of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs. Yeah, but none of your rates were based on any of those things. Those are words you must have learned after the fact. That's not what that's not what the formula for tariffs was based on. So again, that doesn't make any sense. At my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lower reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%. Oh, you mean the 10% tariff that will still bankrupt all of us? Cool. That's cool. So we're still going to all be charged and pay the taxes of billionaires and corporations? Awesome. Immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I can't deal with this. What Trump said is like, hey, after a week of market manipulation, of driving the market through the floor straight to hell, now I've instructed certain people to, this is all in my opinion. I have no proof of this, but I'm sure there will be investigations into who has profited off of this. I wouldn't want to be the person that made those trades. But yeah, I mean, after a week of market manipulation, people are getting so angry. And by the way, he doesn't give a about the middle class and random Americans. He doesn't care that everyone lost their retirement money. That's the point, right? He's still going to steal Social Security. The billionaires were mad. Corporations, huge corporations. He doesn't care about small businesses that were being shuttered. Whirlpool literally laid off a huge percentage of their workforce. Does he care? No. He got so much pressure. Even Elmo, even Space Karen was turning on him. And he's like, oh shit, I guess that's enough market manipulation. Time to cash out. I mean, that's literally what happened. This is the fourth time. This was just the most extreme time. So people are like, this has never happened before. No, I would posit it did happen on 3 smaller scales. Oh, for now. Absolutely, Jennifer. No, we're not done. This is just 90 days for people to forget, right? So he can manipulate the markets again. Did I not say this? And for people that watch my show every day, what I said after the third time he drove the market down, and I was like, someone's making a lot of money. I said, no one's going to believe him again. So that's why it had to be, that's why this whole Liberation Day and a week leading up to it and being like, everything's going to change. Imagine how extreme you have to be to get people to believe you. Exactly. It's a roller coaster, dips. Then we're climbing back up. People have hope. People have hope. All to just dip again. This whole presidency is a series of market manipulations. Buy low, sell. I mean, it's very clear what is happening. If you can see patterns, I'm just saying, I just see a very clear pattern here. And then he blames it on other people. It's ridiculous. And actually, I thought about this a lot. Like, this is all China can do. They have to take a stand. Think about how narcissists work. I say this all the time. I was raised by a malignant narcissist. Either you take a stand, you can take a stand immediately. You can be manipulated for a couple of years. But every time you give in, they'll just use you more. They've learned, they have the appetite to be used, right? And China's just saying, we're going to stop. We're going to face off right here, right now. We're not going to do the whole, we'll give in here. And then 2 weeks down the road, you want more and you want more and you want more. They're right to take a stand now. And I say this all the time. Malignant narcissists don't stop. You have to stop them. You have to say, this is what I will accept. This is what I won't accept. The only way to deal with a malignant narcissist is to take hard stances. And sometimes you have to attack, right? Like even a barrier and, doesn't work. Sometimes you have to make them back up. And that's what Trump is doing. They're saying, get off of us. We have coupled economies, right? If one fails, the other fails. That's why this will go away too. This is not sustainable. Just this trade war with China will drive our economy into a recession. So everyone's like, oh, whew. No, the most important and only country that truly matters is China at this point. Think about it. All these products, small business owners, Amazon, Apple, all their factories are there. And he thinks that's sustainable. It's absolutely not. He just didn't want to be embarrassed, right? That's why it says that at the top. Oh, look at me. I'm tough on China. No, you're a coward. You're a coward and you're a grifter. And that's what this is. It's a grift and it's you backing down. Thanks, Jer. Thank you guys. Thanks, Barley. And thank you for the nice words in the chat. I got some extra stuff based on when Trump decided to start doing dumb things. And I just want to say this, I'll just posit this again. I wonder who Trump told about the tariffs pause in advance. That's the question. If the Republicans had a spine, if conservatives had a spine, there would be congressional hearings tomorrow. There would be investigations. They would be demanding to look at stock trades, period. Because somebody profited off of that, and we need to know who. Oh, this is a meme I like. I make a stupid decision. Something really bad happens. I convince my followers the problem is now magically solved. I reverse my stupid decision. Start over. But also, and I'm not saying this isn't true because it is very true, obvious. It's a cyclical, but around this cycle is also a bunch of grifting, right? Every decision he's making, while stupid for the country, is not stupid for him, right? He's also a grifter. The only person that he is trying to make money for is him. That's what we know from his business strategy, right? He leaves his own businesses in tatters. They end up in bankruptcy, but he leaves with something. He is enriching himself and the people that support him. Everyone else ends up in bankruptcy. Do you understand? This is the track record. This is the pattern. This is how this will end. It's only going to be good for him. And I think a lot of the tech billionaires and stuff thought, we're in the inner circle. This is going to be good for us. But turns out it's not looking so great, is it? They're like, oh God, this guy's insane and he's going to do this to us too. Yeah, you should have thought about that. Yeah, and I just want to say, what we need to know and have is an immediate investigation into everyone in the Trump administration, everyone they're related to, what trades they placed, who shorted the market. We need to look into Trump's Russian associates that he very clearly owes something to and is very clearly being leveraged by. These are the conversations that need to be had. And if we had a Congress that had a spine, we would immediately investigate, but nobody hold their breath for that. Keep tapping the screen. Let's share the live. And I think this is a good point too. That's why I screenshotted this. Why would any company, now think about it, Trump's whole reason why he said he had to drive the market into the ground. In my opinion, the whole reason was always market manipulation. But what was the reason Trump said he had to drive the market into the ground? He was going to bring back manufacturing. Why in the would anybody commit to bringing manufacturing back to America when Trump's tariff policies change every hour? Why? You can't. You cannot build a business strategy off of this type of constant disruption. You can't. You can't forecast anything. Because every 5 minutes, it changes. Nobody can bring a business here. Nobody can be anywhere near Trump. He's not a safe person to do business with. He's a grifter. So just remember Trump's whole lie about this is all about bringing manufacturing back, which if you can do basic math, which MAGA, we know you can't. So that right there, you're out. But for those of us who did get through 6th grade, we can do basic math, understand the cost of labor in America, understand labor laws, understand the cost of materials, and Trump's blanket tariffs, which makes the cost of materials even higher. It is very obvious that manufacturing is never coming back to the United States. That's just a lie that Trump told. And now we see it's never going to happen. Oh my God. And I don't know if anyone's seen this, but this just happened. So Trump, is like, oh, just kidding. I'm done manipulating the market for a week. Whoever has successfully shorted the market and we'll all divvy up the profits, and then Scott Bessent, God bless this man. He's just like, I need to go back to working for George Soros. At least he was sane. Make Scott Bessent get back on TV and be like, more tariffs are coming. I swear to God, Trump posts this ridiculous shit, is like, hey, my fake reciprocal tariffs, I'm pausing for 90 days. There's still 10% blanket tariffs, 125% tariffs to China, which will cripple our economy. And also, go out there, Scott, and tell him I'm not done with him yet.
Secretary, as far as you, will the pause also apply to the sectoral tariffs that the president has announced, pharma, lumber, anything else?
No, it's on the reciprocal.
So those will still be coming here soon, right? Mr. Secretary, as far as the negotiations with the 75
Andrea, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary.
Bill indicates Trump still plans to announce new tariffs on lumber and pharmaceuticals, which we'll get to that. Trump was supposed to just do an announcement last night and then went on a 2-hour insane rant where he said he's going to now be tariffing pharmaceuticals. So that's the next step of him making it impossible for any of us to afford medicine. And that's what they were asking Scott Bessent. So no, that's not coming. And he's like, oh no, that's coming. So get excited. Get excited. Pretty soon we won't be able to afford medicine. Oh, and then Ron Vera, some of us knew him as Peter Navarro, recently let out of prison, but it was also recently revealed by Rachel Maddow that the economics expert Peter Navarro cites in all his books is actually an anagram of his own name, Ron Vera, and Ron Vera does not exist. It is in fact just Peter Navarro. Here's what Peter Navarro said after Trump just did this.
Countries are trying to negotiate. Walk us through how this decision was made.
Charles, this is one of the greatest days in American economic history we have had. I think we're going to call it the art of the reciprocal trade deal. And I'll tell you, all the nervous Nellies on Wall Street who try to undermine us consistently underestimate the power of the president to negotiate. What have we got here? We are at a place now where we have a broad-based 10% global tariff on. Well, we negotiate over the next 90 days with all of these countries who have come to us. And the mission, Charles, in these negotiations is to dramatically reduce our trade deficit, level the playing field, right, get rid of all the tariff differentials, get rid of all the non-tariff barriers. Dow 50,000, Charles.
Again, this man is a liar. None of that matters. I wonder if Ron Vera told him that, his weird alter ego that does not, in fact, even exist. Maybe that's where he got this advice from to say this, because none of that was true. But God knows Trumpers are like, yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't. It only makes sense if you're an idiot or a pathological liar or a combination of both. So those are your choices, MAGA. Know that if what you just heard makes any sense to you, you are not smart. And my advice to you, and again, I'm not asking you to go to university and spend money. just to have a thirst for knowledge and do some research. To understand that every learned economist in the country that's not being leveraged or is a pathological liar says that what Trump is claiming about trade deficits aren't good or is not true. And let's say it was true. The reciprocal tariffs aren't based off tariff rates and non-tariff trade barriers. So you can't, which one is it? Something has to be a lie. So if any of this makes sense to you, you have no idea what's going on. You could not find your way out of a paper bag, or you're a liar, or you're in cognitive dissonance. I mean, I guess that's fair. Sometimes I do understand that you can be in complete cognitive dissonance and believe something that is not true. But again, it's your job to do real research, not confirmation bias. Don't Google and say, I agree, Trump is amazing and I agree with his reciprocal tariffs, and then find information to support your cognitive dissonance. Do you understand the difference? My guess is no. I love Brian Schatz. He's growing on me like a fungus. He's like, our plan is working perfectly and is just a negotiating tactic, but it is also going to be permanent. And we, the world leaders in textiles, and now there is a pause and everyone needs to chill, but also we will never back down. That's exactly the contradictions. We're bringing back manufacturing. Wait a minute. No, we're not. We will never back down. We're backing down from 90 days. These are reciprocal tariffs. Oh, wait, people can do math. No, they're not. This was all a tactic. No, it wasn't. It can't. Which one is it, MAGA? I'm embarrassed for you. I have my secondhand embarrassment for somebody who supports this, knows no bounds. Which one is it? Follow a line of logic. Or here's a line of logic for you that I've been subjected to for the previous 4 years. Whoever is sitting in the White House is responsible for the economy. You guys said Joe Biden was in mental decline. Follow your own line of logic. Don't make up a lie. Don't obfuscate. Stay on it. By your line of logic, for the last 4 years, Donald Trump is unfit to be in office. You can be a liar, you can be a hypocrite, or you can follow your line of logic to its natural conclusion and get him out of office. Those are your choices. If you are not actively online in lives campaigning for Trump to no longer be the president of the United States, like you did for the last 4 years, you are a hypocrite. It's your logic. You set the tone. I'm just following your logic. So either you were lying the last 4 years or you're lying now. You can choose which one that is, or you can follow your own line of logic and actively campaign for Trump to leave office. And let me help you. You were wrong the last 4 years. Biden recovered our economy. Our economy was the envy of the G7. Trump inherited a bull market. That means a good market that's projected to expand. Those are the facts. And this is, Senator Rand Paul is the only one. And God, it's so sad that I have to even say these types of things at this point. I can't believe this is where I am in life. I can barely look myself at the mirror. Rand Paul is the only person even attempting to make any sense of Republican people in the Senate, period. And he said, Senator Rand Paul on Trump backing off reciprocal tariffs for 90 days. Quote, I think that the marketplace has spooked them. I think that he's done grifting and shorting the market. And I do not think Trump expected the reaction. I think that when Trump has these ideas, by nature of him being a narcissist, he cannot accept that they don't make sense. You know, I talk about the pathology of true narcissism. Understand, If you think your mom or dad is like a shitty person and they have narcissistic traits, that is not the same as having narcissistic personality disorder. You have to understand that. Your brain, I mean, and we know this from MRIs, develops differently when you have narcissistic personality disorder. You lack empathy, and you live in a fun house of mirrors in which you are God, and God can never be wrong. So that is what Trump is contending with in his own mind. He can't possibly be wrong. So I can't imagine what this week of feedback was like for him. He's thinking, God's never wrong. Why are these people are just liars? I mean, that's what you saw in his crazy speech last night. It's like he cannot accept the fact that his version of economics, by all his own professors in college, said he was one of the dumbest people they've ever had in their classes. He knows nothing about the economy. It's very clear. Quote, this is another Rand Paul quote. Hopefully, there'll be some people talking some sense into the policy and being less extreme. Rand Paul is an extremist, a liar, and a former Trump supporter. I mean, he supports Trump all the time. I've seen Rand Paul lie, obfuscate, all sorts of things. So, it's fascinating to me to find these Republican senators' lines, where they're like, and it seems Rand Paul's line is when he's going to get poor. And like Bill Ackman, the billionaire who used to be a longtime Democratic donor and was like, FDI, I support Donald Trump. We saw a lot of billionaires' lines. That happens to be losing 12% of their wealth, right? Don't think they care about you as a human being. Don't think these people care that people lost their life savings. This is about themselves. I thought we were going to make money. Like, hold on. I thought we were going to steal from the poor and we were going to get richer. You didn't tell me I was going to get poor. Like, that's the vibes. We've basically stopped tapping the screen. Thank you to the one person who continues to tap the screen. I appreciate that so much. Can we please tap the screen? Tapping is clapping. Also, if you would, all my research and everything I do for the People's Receipts, I rely on your tips and donations. This is my Cash App and Venmo. Also, if we could each share the live with 10 people, continue tapping the screen, that would be super helpful. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, and subscriptions. I'm trying to get back to 400 subscriptions. Papa Rob bought 5. If you can buy some subscriptions and gift them to people, that would be awesome. Let's see what we're moving on to. Oh yes. Look at Nutlick. Again, that's Howard Lutnick. I realized last week on the day after Liberation Day that if you interchange the N and the L, Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary's name is Nutlick. And I don't know why we're all not calling him that for the rest of his life, because that's what he deserves. And by the way, this news isn't from me. If you were here for the People's Receipts on Monday, Bill Ackman, the guy I'm complaining about, the billionaire who's now pretending he cares about people, but really he lost 12% of his wealth in the markets and turned on Trump. He's been going after Nutlick and Bill Ackman, basically, because he was so desperate for Trump to stop the madness, started exposing Nutlick and saying Nutlick's in long bonds. He's like, you want to know why Howard Nutlick is so happy to support Trump in the media? It's because he's in long bonds. He's profiting he's one of the people that's profiting off people losing everything. So if you're ever wondering, well, every time the market crashes, this guy and his hedge fund cantor, he gets louder and happier. Well, Bill Ackman exposed him and then tried to apologize and be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. No, Bill, you were very upset because you lost a lot of money and then you exposed him. So just know, every time, like, how happy has Nutlick been the last week? That's because he was getting exponentially richer every day that went by. Someone should check if he sold off if he changed his positions in the markets recently. There needs to be follow the money. All these positions are, I mean, someone needs to look into all these people. Yeah, well, it's not Emerald. I see that, but it's not that weird to switch to bonds. Like, that's fear of the market, right? You switch to bonds because of fear. And so, so it's not like MTG last month moving to bonds, and she doesn't place her own trade. She couldn't find her way out of a paper bag, let alone trade in the markets. But it actually is a sign she probably has a non-dumb financial advisor, right? The stock market, help, I'm crashing. Who is the stock market? Is this the same person that was penguin tariffs last week? Help, I'm crashing. Oh, stock market, you're gonna be okay. Keep tapping. We're not tapping again. How many fingers? We have 381 people in here. Oh God, I can't. Don't ask me. Okay. Oh, assuming none of you have lost a finger, that's 3,800 fingers. Okay, 3,800. Sharon's eating. That's 10 less fingers. Got you, girl. Anyways, let's move on to Nutlick really quick. Oh, Joanna's here. Uh-oh, now you guys have done it. Wait, I thought I accepted. What? Joanna, I tried. Hold on. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Hey.
Hey.
Love the ponytails. You look gorgeous as always. It's giving radiant. The eyeliner is giving very much awake, although I'm sure you probably had 10 minutes of sleep yesterday, but it's okay. We're all going to be fine. What's not going to be fine is that you people need to tap the screen. I don't know if you're out of practice. I don't know if you just wanted me to come and tell you to do it, but tap the fucking screen, okay? We should have been at least 150K. We could have been at 200K by now, but y'all are yapping and not tapping. I need you to do both. I'm enjoying the yaps as always, but I also need to be enjoying the taps. I'm seeing very few hearts over here by my little box. I need y'all to heart my box up. I know that sounded weird, but stay with me. I'm taking
I was like, that's what she said?
It is. I do enjoy it. And I know y'all like when I enjoy things like we're all enjoying this show, right? If you haven't sent your heart me, get that done today. And TikTok has this new weirdo thing. Okay, whatever, TikTok. Claim your points if you want to level up on a creator's live, I guess. So send your heart me's. When you comment, make sure that you go claim all of your points for it, whatever that means. Thank you, Joby, as always.
Joby's the best.
Joby.
We don't deserve your kindness. Thank you for the 10 subs. Joby in the chat, especially if you got a sub.
Big Joby. Oh, Hangry Panda. It's okay. Don't even worry about it.
Hangry Panda is a good name.
It is, and it's hilarious. If you haven't sent your heart me's, make sure you're sending those. If you're not following Felice, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you also need to do that as well. If you missed something, if you came in late, if you had to step out and didn't hear something, the replays are on YouTube. It's at A Girl Has No Name. Make sure you're subscribed on there. Let's help Felice get her hours up. Guess what I fall asleep to? Yes, I'm weird and I like politics, but it's always soothing listening to Felice speak, right? Because she always gives us the facts and she always brings the receipts. So subscribe on YouTube. If you're not in the Discord, you should be in there too. You get alerts to let you know when we're going live. We share cute memes and all the news. And there's
like over 900 people. Have you seen that, Joanne? We have like over 900 people in the Discord. Come hang out.
Absolutely. It's super fun. You get access to everybody and the outlines for the information that you get in these shows. All the links are also in the Discord in the outline. So who's that on the screen? Where can I follow them at? Are they on Substack? Where's this clip? It's in the Discord. And you can also go back and watch it on YouTube as well. So hop in the Discord and join us. We are looking to get this sub count back out. Thank you so much for all of the cowboy hats. We love Cowboy Felice, right? Make sure you're doing all the things. Every now and then you'll see a little blue and white notebook in the upper left-hand corner. That's a poll. That also helps us get pushed out. So when you see that and you see me say check the poll, pick an option, show all the support. We love you guys real big. Thank y'all for being here. Keep doing all the things, or I'm going to come and cuss you out. It's going to be a little harsher next time.
Use your Joanna sticker in the chat. There is a great Joanna sticker that Kuduri made. She's the best.
I forgot I do have a sticker.
Also, Joanna, we're raising a baby in Arkansas. Joanna is the youngest grandmother of all time. We're raising a very, and I don't say this lightly, some would call us multiracial. I call myself a hybrid. We are extremely attractive beings. It's the diverse gene pool. We're raising a hybrid in Arkansas. We're raising a boy. And in my link tree, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, wherever, there is an Amazon wish list. And, I'll bring more pictures out tomorrow. Joanna, if you have updated pictures, send them to me tonight and I'll show you guys the photos. But Zaire is the most beautiful baby boy. We've all bought him onesies and things, and we're updating the Amazon wish list as we go. So if you would like to help us raise a child that you don't actually have to change the diapers, please do. This is the closest I'm getting.
Thank you guys so much. He is adorable. His little gray eyes,
gorgeous.
And he is not going to be a piece of shit man. Oh yeah, people are saying they don't see my sticker. I don't see it either. What? Maybe we have to put it back in.
Well, I couldn't change it because I don't even. Yeah, it wasn't. I'll go find it. I'll add it. Well, I didn't do it. I'll find it and add it again.
Got you. Let's see. We have 3 more cowboy hats to get to Felice's gift goal being reached. So let's get those cowboy hats sent. We love Cowgirl Felice. We love Felice, period. And we love all these receipts. We also love y'all for being here. Thank you, Callisto Fury. Love y'all for being here, and we're going to get back to the show.
Thank you, Joanna. You're the best. Can you guys see the Space Karen sticker still? Like, it's Elon Musk with, Karen hair. Can you see that one in the stickers? Because I'm just because I added it's not there either. That's very weird, because those are the last 2 stickers. Toodle made Space Karen. Okay, well, I'll check into that after the show, because that is, remember, we had Space Joanna, and then I added Space Karen. Yeah, that explains, because I haven't seen either in a while. I'll check on that. We'll figure it out. That is strange. But again, remember when I used to be able to chat or write things in the comments and you guys could see them? None of this is my fault. I promise you, things change. I don't know what's going on, but I'll re-download TikTok Studio and I'll update the stickers again. But yeah, not my fault. Oh, there is Space Karen. Space Karen's right there. Meg's found Space Karen. That's so weird that Joanna's sticker isn't there. I promise I haven't touched anything. It was a miracle I figured out how to upload those stickers in the first place. Okay. Anyways. So this is from Nutlick. Scott Besson and I. This is sat with the president. Scott Besson doesn't want to be anywhere near you, Nutlick, while he wrote the most extraordinary truth posts of his president. Are you kidding me? He's talking about the one I just read, you guys. Truth post of his presidency. The world is ready to work with President Trump to fix global trade, and China has chosen the opposite direction. He's talking about the post I just read that was just a bunch of lies. So some people can see Space Karen. Maybe I added it to a place where you have to be a subscriber or something. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I thought I just added it to the stickers. That's so strange. Oh, Toodle has the Joanna sticker. Is that what that is? I don't know. I'll look into that. Well, we'll figure it out. I added them both to the same. I swear for a day, everyone could see them. That is strange. I'll look into it. Anywho, yeah, so Netflix like, hey, I just made a fortune in long bonds off the market crashing. Isn't this great? Donald Trump's the most amazing. No, Howard, not all of us are having a great time. And you know who was out there next to Scott Bassett? Well, he's like, yeah, we're still going to tariff lumber and pharmaceuticals. Caroline Leavitt. She was like, I'm so excited to tell lies. Like, let me get out here and lie. What? You are about to experience extreme amounts of gaslighting from a very bad liar who has no idea how to find her way out of a paper bag. Brace yourself. Tap this. We're not tapping it. Can we all tap the screen? Tapping is clapping. Marlene, thank you for extending your subscription. And Joe B, by the way, thank you again for those subscriptions. You are so, so kind. Oh, I forgot one more. Sorry. As long as I'm remembering things I just remembered one thing. I need to. Why is it not in there? I just saw something. Lisa, thank you for the $10. I just saw that. It was on Cash App, or it's either Cash App or Venmo. I just saw that. For some reason, it's not in my email, though. I'll figure it out. If there's a message, maybe it's delayed and I'll find it. But thank you so much, Lisa. Okay, this is Caroline after Trump's like, hey, I'm done manipulating the market for 90 days. Except for I'm still going to crash the economy. Here's Caroline.
Excuse me, Raquel, if I could just add to what the secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called. Because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
Again, I'm just going to say it. Are you a liar or are you dumb? That's what I would say. And like, whenever if your family parrots anything like this to you, I think that's, at this point, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just going to go ahead and ask. Like, you can choose one, or in fairness, it could be a combination of both. Like, which one is it? You can't. Are you a liar, or are you dumb enough that you do not understand that this is complete bullshit? And like, I don't know if you guys know, but when Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers in New York City of 34 felonies, like parts of the art of the deal were actually entered in and read as evidence. I suggest, tell me without telling me she has no idea what that book says. Like, that book is horrific. It's Trump being like, part of the reason he's convicted is it's like a confession. It's like him saying, like, I don't pay my bills. Like, my strategy is don't ever pay a bill. Like, refuse to pay them. Sue people for no reason to teach them lessons. Like, it is the most insane book. It was literally used as evidence against him to prove in the Stormy Daniels hush money case when he was like refusing to pay Michael Cohen, and Michael Cohen kept calling, like, to prove the behavior was like. And that's what Michael Cohen did for him. Trump would refuse to pay any invoices, and then Michael Cohen would go out and just be like, yeah, we're not paying you, so you can accept 50% or you get nothing. Like, this man's the art of the deal is like directions on how not to do the right thing in business. And she's like, art of the deal. Yeah, actually, you just proved our point, weirdo. And also, now I know you can't read. The last thing I would do when trying to convince the world that Trump's a reliable person who didn't just manipulate the market is bring up that book. That's cool, Sylvia. I don't know how people do that. Do you just copy it and then you can use it again? Thoughts of Amazon canceling overseas orders. Didn't Bezos? Oh yeah, listen. Do not trust Jeff Bezos. Right? Jeff Bezos, here's the thing about Jeff Bezos. The way he runs Amazon, I mean, I could go into market manipulation. I could go into how he's trying to price grocery stores out of the market. I mean, he's putting people out of business. He was being investigated for leveraging like literally 50% of sales. Like, it's techno-feudalism, right? One of my favorite books is like, it's like Capitalism Has Ended. And this is, oh my God, is that a corgi? And this is the rise of techno-feudalism. Yeah, he's a feudal lord. Jeff Bezos is a feudal lord. We are all his serfs. As soon as he pushes any competition out of the market, then he owns all of us. But I'll say that, like, on the flips, well, not on the flip side, I would say, and I don't want to say but, so I'm going to say and. I will say, though, as if you don't know this, Jeff Bezos owns Twitch, which we're live on Twitch right now. And I would say, and this is from a creator who's interested in not being like discriminated against or having the algorithm manipulated. I would say I would rather be on a platform owned by Jeff Bezos than Elon Musk any day, right? He has way more empathy. Not when it comes to labor rights, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as like when I notice how Elon Musk runs X and I compare it to like my impressions of now being on a streamer on Twitch for 3 months, I will take thank you, Sylvia. I'll take Jeff Bezos's version of running a social media company any day. Yes, that's a correct assessment, Miller. I'm not going to read it all out, but yeah. No, you guys will see. I'll settle into this live, I promise. It's just I'm so annoyed with Trump. Like, it's hard for me to focus because Trump, I had the most amazing show. If I stay live for 8 hours, if you guys stay and listen, I will take you on the most amazing journey. I had the best show, and then Trump decided to gaslight me. Oh, this is really good. And this is part of the show. So, this I just got, but this is a great example. I don't know if you guys know, and I should have looked it up, but again, this is one of the clips I got after Trump was announcing he was done for 90 days manipulating the stock market. Here, I'm going to look up where he's from right now. Oh no, that was spelled wrong. Where is Representative Stephen Horsford from? Where is Representative Horsford from? He's a black man. He's amazingly intelligent, but he's not clipped a lot. Like, his clips don't go viral, but he's on like oversight and accountability. He's amazing. Does anyone know where Stephen Horsford is from? Can someone look it up? Let's crowdsource information. Oh, there we go. He's from Nevada. Oh, God, I was not going to say that. Oh, yeah, Nevada District 4. Okay, well, that's actually really interesting. I did not know that. So from the Southwest. Okay, very interesting. Well, actually, I don't know if Southwest, maybe he's from the northern part. I don't know where District 4 is. But anyways, Stephen Horsford. So imagine this. Like, Trump's trade representatives, like, they're having a hearing live when Trump is announcing that he's like, oh, my week of market manipulation is over, and post that to Truth Social. So like, when I said, I wonder who knew and who shorted the market, because very clearly Trump's representatives who are under oath testifying don't know, because they're saying one thing in real time and then Trump's just doing a 180. But watch Stephen Horsford run over this man. This will give you life. Why can I not hear this? Oh. Hold on. We're going to do this let me pull up my outline and then we'll just do this. Oh, you guys can see my brain. I have to wait. This is what my brain looks like. Here, I'm just going to play it live because for some reason I don't know why the sound isn't working.
Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago.
Sitting here.
Under discussion.
Sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions.
What are the details?
So again, he could say, this man's under oath in Congress. This would be the chance to say, I didn't know. That's all unless you're going to lie under oath, You just say, I very clearly didn't know. I have clips of this hearing from hours before, right? Horsford is an H. They go in alphabetical order when they question witnesses. This hearing's already been going on for like hours. And he very clearly, there are hours of clips of him not knowing. So you didn't know. And I think, the weird thing to me about Republicans is the truth shall set you free, but you don't want to be embarrassed or something. So your plan is to lie, which is never a good idea. Like you very clearly sat in this hearing and were testifying as if there would be no negotiations, these reciprocal tariffs that aren't reciprocal in any way or and you're proud of them. And while they were sitting there, all that changed. And now he's pretending he secretly knew.
Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
And when were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago.
Sitting here
under discussion.
Sitting here under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions with
What are the
President.
details of the pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the details? How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been in this
So the trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've just been in the hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet? WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned...
it looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago sitting here. We saw you.
We've been discussing a variety of...
If you came here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy?
Understand, he's under oath. So you're saying you lied then. That's what he's not saying. Like, Stephen Horsford is actually being nice. They directly were asking him these questions. When will this end? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, it won't. So you lied under oath, and now instead of looking stupid and just being like, I didn't know, I wasn't lying, I have no idea what's going on, he's a madman at the wheel, he's pretending he did know, because I don't believe he knew. None of people were on Fox News, were on CNN, representatives paid by Donald Trump were live on air saying, there's no negotiations, this is the way it's going to be, and that he truthed that.
Are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected, and he runs the trade policy, and I advised him and execute his
Who executes the trade policy?
I execute the trade policy.
Did you know that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of...
And there's another member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days, because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take, He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to
That was your testimony. You just testified it was market. You said you knew. You were under oath. You gave a different statement. Your opening statement was different. You answered all these questions differently, which under oath, if you're saying you knew this was coming while you were sitting there, which very obviously you didn't, and you're humiliated right now, but you're still lying under oath. It is this man's testimony he knew the whole time. So it was a strategy, which then would make it market manipulation. Like, yeah, he's like, oh my God.
That the global trade system.
This is what the wheels of the bus feel like when they're rolling over you and you're under congressional oath. Like, we are literally watching Trump roll the bus over this man, back up, the reverse, roll it over at him again. He's got this man
Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
Sorry, I don't know why I started over. I think we're right. I only got 4 minutes.
Have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
That's offshored all of our factories. And what has that done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the Speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history on the backs of the American people. WTF! Who's in charge? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug pulled out from under you. I wish I could feel some empathy, but the empathy I have is for the American people whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life. I yield back.
I mean, I could listen to that. That's why I was like, oh man, Stephen Horsford said everything I've been thinking for the last week. And just keep in mind, just because the markets went up, we are still paying state tax, federal tax, 10% on everything. Every time we check out, we're paying for billionaires and corporations to not pay taxes. There's a 10% blanket tariff still in this 90-day pause. 10% blanket tariffs, 125% on everything coming from China. Our economy, thank you, Papa Rob, you're amazing. Our economy is still going to crash. The only thing that's happened is billionaires are pissed. So he's like, oh, I'm going to back off a little. I'm done manipulating. Well, and also, I just want to be clear. You can't manipulate the market unless it goes back up. You understand what I'm saying? The roller coaster has to dip People have to buy, and then it has to go back up. I mean, that's what market manipulation is. So, of course, he had to back off this on some level. But none of that is going to help us middle and lower class Americans, period. We are still left holding the bag. And this is something, yeehaw. Thank you, Jay Monet. You're the best. And I want to say this too, because I have read Project 2025. It's like 900 something pages. I read all of it. And I think that something that's lost on people, and the reason I want to say this is, I mean, I have a big reason. I mean, just because I hear people, yeehaw, thank you, Luke. I hear people getting this wrong. Like, it was never part of Project 2025 to steal Social Security, to break into data systems. I just want to be clear. That's Trump the grifter. Project 2025 never said F with Social Security. I just want to be very clear on that. That's because he's sick. Project 2025 is sick, but I want to be like, if I heard somebody say, I've heard a lot of people being like, yeah, like the Social Security stuff's part of Project 2025. No, that's Trump, the insatiable grifter. It is not part of Project 2025 to steal our Social Security or to break the Social Security system, because that's too far, right? I mean, that's not, us intelligent, like Project 2025 was written by think tanks that, it's in the name, think, and not even conservatives want Social Security broken. So I'm just pointing out. And this is real time. A trade representative. Maybe we'll listen to that a couple more times. If ever you start getting frustrated and want to hear that again, I'll bring it back. Let me update. Okay, I did update that gift goal. Now I just need to update. Sorry, there's so many goals. I should get someone else to be in. I wonder if 2 people can be in TikTok Studio during a live. If you could see how much work it is to be in here. It's a full-time job just updating things. Yeehaw! I think I'll be one of those I'll be one of those NPCs if talking about politics doesn't work out. My next step is to be like, what's that girl's name that made so much money from being an NPC, and she would like pop popcorn with her straightener? I won't have to think then. I'll just do a series of, God, her name, that's going to drive. I hate when I can't remember things. So anyways, that's Stephen Horsford. Sorry, I was live on the internet for that because for some reason the sound wasn't working when I screen recorded it. And I want to show you. So that was him just laying in and be like, you sat here under oath, gave a different opening statement that there was going to be no negotiation on reciprocal tariffs. We asked you questions that are either lies or you just had the rug pulled out from under you. And he sits there and is like, oh, I knew, you did not know. So now you're lying under oath again. And that I saw, look what he posted. And I wasn't following Stephen Horsford on X, which makes me feel sad because I should have been this whole time. Let me show you. And then I might need to change okay. Let's see if I can. Give me 1 second to resize this. Okay. This is the guy while it's a shot of this guy like finding out in real time that he's been lied to. Like his aide's like, like look what Trump posted. Basically, this is the screenshot of when this man finds out the rug has been pulled out from underneath him. And look at this. This is from Stephen Horsford, which it's at Rep Horsford if you want to follow him. I'm sure it's like that across the internet. These are government accounts. So at Rep Horsford, if you're interested. And he's from the 4th District of Nevada. So if he's your rep, that's awesome. I did not know he was from Nevada. Yes, let's hear it for the Southwest. What it looks like when you're the country's trade representative testifying before Congress and you find out Trump changed his mind on tariffs. This is reckless governing. There's no strategy, and it's obvious this is amateur hour. I mean, can you imagine? He's under congressional oath. He probably prepared for days. He's been studying 24 hours a day and then finds out Trump has shat on him. And I don't know if you heard what Stephen Horsford was saying. He was saying Scott Bessent was supposed to be at this hearing and then didn't show up. So obviously Scott Bessent got a heads up. Don't go. I don't want to humiliate you. But this guy, not the same courtesy. That's what Stephen Horsford said was, yeah, Scott Bessent canceled. So he obviously knew. Hilarious. Trump just effed this man. Oh, the wheels of the bus are running over this man. Frankie, thank you for the super sticker. Frankie, you're the best. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out with me on YouTube. You're the best. But yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine being that man. Well, this is what you get when you sell out and pledge loyalty to a lying grifter who's painfully insecure. Yeehaw. This is once I'm an NPC character, I no longer even have to use my brain. It's going to be great. Can't wait. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm just making sure I go in order because I have so many important things to show you guys. I just want to make sure I don't forget. Yep, let's get this party started. God, we have so much to talk about. Oh, yes, I remember. I knew there was something. I was like, I cannot move to the beginning of the presentation until I show you guys something. If you heard, Stephen Horsford was saying, I just had a bunch of businesses in my office, in my district, who are literally shuttering their businesses, going out of business, and can no longer survive because of the tariffs. Small businesses are done. And they're still 10%. I'm not saying they can even survive the 10% tariffs. I don't believe they can. And the 125% from China, it's no business. Small businesses will be out of business. And I want to remind you of every time I've been in debates with MAGA, which is you like talking to an unintelligent wall. They would say, Trump's going to deregulate everything. Is this the deregulation you guys were talking about, making it too expensive? And I would be like, what do you think deregulation is? Because I know what Trump means by deregulation, right? That's for huge corporations and billionaires. That's union busting. That's giving people less bathroom breaks who work in factories. That's rolling back child labor laws. That's saying, hey, we don't need to test train brakes. That's the deregulation Trump is talking about. And they were like, no, it's going to help small businesses. He has essentially put small businesses out of business. I have a backup count with over 100,000 followers. I think in the future, facts still matter. And Steve might debate from it because I do have quite a few questions. There's no answers. I'll tell you in advance, MAGA, if I start to, it's not like you... I do have an amazing brain and I am excellent in speech and debate thanks to my speech and debate teacher in high school. But I'll say this, the facts are just not on your side, period. So it's fascinating that you guys even come to debates. The way I know I can't lose a debate is because my opinions are data and fact driven. When the data changes, I just change my opinion. So that's how I know I could show up to any debate and win, because my positions are taken based on data and fact. Oh, yes. Thank you, Gregory. That's a great point. And tonight, which won't involve me at all, but I don't know if you don't watch Facts, which Facts Still Matter is my best friend on the internet and my favorite creator. He is debating. He's raising money this week for someone in our community who won't ask for help, and we're not saying their name. And I don't even think they know money is being raised for them. But Gregory, you're in the comments. Oh, you put it 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be 4 p.m. I think he's just going to go live and see if he can get some debates. I don't think it's one scheduled, or at least that's what he told me at 1 a.m. when he was still awake. Oh, we want you there too. Oh, I'm going to watch. I'll come. I don't know if Fax wants me to be there. I told him last night. I was like, I will be there. Of course, I'll be there, whether I'm in the audience or whatever. Of course, I'll be there. 100%. I support. We know, Gregory. You know how much I love Fax. He's amazing. You never will hear me vouch for men on the internet, and I will vouch for Steve. He's a great person and should be supported. But I'm just saying in the future, we might debate together too, because like I said, I can't lose a debate because my positions are all data driven and fact driven. So, I mean, it's not, but I do get bored of debating idiots on the internet. But based on what has happened with these tariffs, I do have a list of questions. I would like people in cognitive dissonance. If you're at the point where you'll still show up and publicly support Trump, someone needs to be asking you a few questions. I literally have a notes app, like in my iPhone, like in the notes app, I have like a list of questions for MAGA. Which there is no right. I mean, the only answer would be, I no longer support Donald Trump. Spoiler alert. What's the @ for tonight's live? Oh, it's @ Facts Still Matter. Wait, what is his handle? What is Gregory? Can you post Fax's handle? And can you pin it? You're a mod, right? You can pin it. And again, all of my research I rely on your tips and donations. This is my Cash App and Venmo. And we need to move on. I need to find this post. So again, Stephen Horsford was saying, hey, I personally have had to sit in my office while businesses are saying I'm going out of business. I can't stay in business as a result of these tariffs. And I want to show you a really tragic, if you're in Pennsylvania, brace for your economy contracting. This is I just want to give you an example of this is what Trump has done. Oh, wait, this is the wrong. Give me 1 second. No, that's another depressing thing. I need to. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Proposed $300 million plastics recycling facility project in Erie has been scrapped.
The Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership reporting they were notified by International Recycling Group, IRG, that due to uncertainty brought on by federal funding cuts and the newly implemented tariffs, they've decided to pull the plug on their proposed East Side plant. Tyler Gallagher has been following this story today. He joins us now outside from the site of that proposed plant. Tyler?
Thank you, Sean and Jen. Yeah, I'm here at what would have been this site of the proposed IRG plant on East Lake Road. Earlier today, the company announced that they will not be moving forward with building the $300 million plastics recycling plant. The company citing that financial challenges ultimately led to that decision, with difficulties in securing that $300 million needed for the project, and with recently announced tariffs increasing anticipated costs for development. IRG's founder and chief executive officer, Mitch Hecht, releasing a comment today on the decision that reads in part, over 4 years ago, we brought the IRG project to Erie with the intention of creating high-paying, family-sustaining jobs and turning Erie into a leader in environmental sustainability by replacing new plastic production with reused and recycled materials gathered from homes across the region. I'm personally devastated after 18 years of working to bring this vision to reality that we have failed to overcome these challenges.
So if this was all, and that's what they're saying, like, you know, the people paid to lie for Trump. Oh, this is a giant win. No, it's not. It's not for any state. Whirlpool fired a huge percentage of all their workers. I have videos. I was playing videos on Monday of people walking out of oil and gas as they were fired. And that's not over, right? I think the barrels got above, the price per barrel is like, the oil futures are like 61 or something, which is that's still capping territory. It's not a safe place. And think about it. I just want to be clear. Trump said 90 days. Business, it's not like now, we have a 90-day pause. Let's all put let's pour hundreds of millions of dollars and risk our reputations and financial security in a business. You still can't. Nobody can invest in the American economy when a crazy person is at the helm. Oh my gosh. I need to change the batteries in my keyboard. Oh no, I'm having a crisis. Hold on. This is serious. I have a puzzle piece. The puzzle piece showed up and my mouse is working. Oh, thank God. I forgot I have a trackpad. I really need to probably change the batteries in my keyboard. Okay. Oh, the batteries aren't in my keyboard. Hold on. That's what it is. I was like, my mouse isn't working. There we go. Hold on. They fell out. I need to hold on a second. I'm gonna get different batteries anyways. I think they're going dead. I'm really into rechargeable batteries. Okay, there we go. Better. Oh yeah, much better. Now my mouse is working. Sorry, my batteries were going dead. And I couldn't do the puzzle piece. But everything is okay now. So anyways, yeah, nobody can invest in the US economy based on Trump. We're on a roller coaster that does not end. If you don't understand, I just want to remind you, one of the reasons I was very impressed by Kamala Harris and anybody was one day she gave a speech that I was present for where she said, as the Attorney General of California, one of the biggest lessons I learned is that as a leader, you have to be completely even keel, right? You cannot be hyperbolic. You cannot exaggerate. You cannot tell people it's the end of the world. You can't make the mark because any sort of emotion that comes out of you, the markets can fluctuate and you can be the reason that people lose their retirement. This is something she understood acutely. And now think about what Donald Trump is doing to the average American. Yeehaw! Thank you so much. Hope the shark doesn't show after you said battery. Oh God, I know. Trump's probably the sharks are probably coming. They don't like the batteries. That's a great point. Thank you. Okay. I have so many important things. Okay, so again, point being, just because Trump paused this for 90 days, that doesn't change things for small businesses and for investors. They still have to shutter their businesses. Nobody can trust Donald Trump at this point. He's ruined everything. Do I want to talk about Pam Bondi? Oh, I want to talk about this first. I want to talk about more damage Trump has done to the American economy since I last saw you guys, because this is a huge one. And I talked about this on when Matt and I were live yesterday. I just mentioned it briefly, but Brian Baez at Mentally Divine, who we love, made a video on it. So I mentioned this on Matt's live yesterday. If you didn't catch the news, this was one of the breaking news, but God knows we're inundated with horrible news every day. So it's hard to keep track. Yes, we will now be handing over the personal information, locations, tax information of undocumented immigrants. Now you say, let's say you're MAGA and you're like, good, let's hunt them all down and get them out of the country. No, that's not right. This is how I know I can never lose a debate, because data's on my side. If you don't understand, in 2023, immigrants paid $98 billion into Medicare and Social Security tax. They have ITIN numbers. They are paying tax. They are paying into our retirement fund, never to benefit from it in any way. So what will happen now is undocumented immigrants are going to not pay taxes anymore. So again, we're all worried about the solvency of Social Security and Medicare. What you all have done by voting for Donald Trump is ensured that we take another yearly $100 billion hit.
Latinos for Trump, where the fuck y'all at? The IRS is now giving the Department of Homeland Security the access to the personal information and the addresses for all undocumented immigrants. A lot of people are scratching their head right now talking about how the IRS even has the information for undocumented immigrants if undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes. Fucking wrong. Undocumented immigrants don't have social security numbers, but they do have ITIN, which is individual taxpayer identification numbers. I bet y'all didn't know that undocumented immigrants contribute to our economy and pay more in taxes than many major corporations. In 2022, America's 10.9 million undocumented immigrants paid about $100 billion in taxes. Just for context, even though they paid $100 billion in taxes, they are not eligible for the same tax benefits as U.S. citizens. Undocumented immigrants are not eligible for Social Security retirement benefits, health insurance through Medicare, or the federal earned income tax credit, which helps families with low incomes get a tax break. But because they don't have a Social Security number, they're not even eligible for that shit. For the people looking around talking about, well, I'm not going to be impacted because I'm documented, this impacts everybody because disclosing the immigrant tax records to DHS for immigration enforcement will discourage tax compliance among immigrant communities, because why the fuck will they pay their taxes and file their taxes if now their personal information is going to be given to the DHS against them? It's going to weaken contributions to essential public programs like food stamps and increase burdens for U.S. citizens and non-immigrant taxpayers, because if the government is losing $100 billion in tax revenue from undocumented immigrants, where do you think they're going to make up that money? By taxing your ass. It's gotten so bad with all these deportations that Florida lawmakers are now pushing legislation to weaken child labor laws to fill the jobs vacated by undocumented immigrants. Get ready for the raids because they're coming. Get ready for that $100 billion to be squeezed out of your ass because the undocumented immigrants are not going to be paying that. Get ready for prices to keep going up because those jobs are not being filled. The supply chains are being fucked up and inflation will go up.
Well said, Brian. And again, if you want to follow Brian, and I talk about him all the time. This is his name across the internet. It's at Mentally Divine. So you can follow him on TikTok under at Mentally Divine, or you can just search his name as well. But again, did I not say this? And remember when I showed you the video of Walter Masterson like a couple of weeks ago interviewing MAGA, be like, hey, how much do you think undocumented immigrants pay into Social Security and Medicare? And they're like, nothing. And he's like, 98 million. And they're like, that is a complete shock to me. I had no idea. This is what you have done. We are biting off our nose to spite our face. Are we winning yet? Is America great? Our economy's contracting. Businesses are laying people off. Children are going to be back in the factories and the fields. Great job. But, you guys thought brown people had your money. Turns out they don't. And you could have done a simple Google search to figure that out. So much winning. Don't worry. You guys have really stuck it to the undocumented immigrants while crippling your own retirement. Congratulations. The genius of MAGA strikes again. What will we do? Just too much winning. Too many geniuses in one place. Okay. And then I want to get back to immigration, but I want to make sure. I need to find this JD Vance. I need to make sure I get to the most important things. Yeah, we know that. Oh, I got to show. Actually, as long as this is the next step, I'm going to show you this. Another great conservatives coping. Well, that's what Mr. Global calls it. I just call it FAFO. Conservatives trying to make sense of things in their heads and being corrected. I'll show you the good stuff after this. I mean, this is great.
Let's see here. I wonder how my conservative friends are doing today.
God damn it. God fucking damn it. Can you please, for fuck's sakes, hold your tongue for a couple of days? Jesus Christ. I even support the tariffs. I support what you're doing. All you had to do was shut the fuck up until the end of the trading day. You could have come out at 5 o'clock and talked shit. Now everybody in America thinks we're going to go to fucking fisticuffs with China, even though in probably a couple of days or so there'll be a deal. But for the time being, you fucked it up. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? You don't say we're going to punch back at the Chinese at a press conference in the middle of a trade war. You look like a weak douchebag. You say we're open to negotiation, but the ball's in China's court. That's what you say. You don't fucking openly threaten your largest trade partner in the fucking middle of a trade war.
You could just stop supporting him. It seems like you're right there. God, it's like they're so close. Now, this is the moment where you say none of this makes any sense and you stop supporting him. That you know, it's like you can correctly identify the problem, but they just can't get there. Right neighborhood, wrong address. Everybody.
Well, so this morning I told you guys it's supposed to be a big day for the market. Watch what this administration does to destroy it. Watch what this administration does to ruin our first good day in, I don't know, a week? I told you.
This was yesterday. So, just to be clear, this is not today.
Watch for them to do it, and they did it. They did it. We can't have one day. We cannot have one day where everything is not crashing. And now we find out that we have all of these countries who have zero tariffs on us. Zero. All of these countries that have zero tariffs on us, and we're slapping huge tariffs on them. Because this isn't about tariffs or trade deficits. This has nothing to do with tariffs or trade deficits. And they convinced you of that, and you believed it. Because you believe all the dumb shit. And when administration officials are asked, why are we placing tariffs on Australia when they have zero tariffs on us? Why are you placing tariffs on Singapore when they have zero tariffs on us? Why are you placing tariffs on countries that have no tariffs on us? Why are you lying about the tariffs the countries do have tariffs on us and greatly inflating? What is really going on here? Because this isn't about tariffs anymore. It never was. And you know how they respond? Deficit. The deficit. Not a trade deficit. The actual national deficit, which is the complete over here from the trade deficit. They can't even keep it straight. They can't even keep their own lies straight. So for all of you out here running around saying, I support tariffs, this is a great idea, this is exactly what we need to be doing, has nothing to do with tariffs, has nothing to do with bringing jobs back, has nothing to do with manufacturing, has nothing to do with anything you believe it has to do with, and it never did because it was a lie from the beginning, and that's why they can't keep track of the lies. It's easy when you tell the truth. It's easy when you tell the truth. It only gets hard when you start lying. We've been lied to the whole time. Do you support that? Do you support that?
And this is what I would say. I would say people that are in support of a malignant narcissist and enjoy being lied to, or like the up and down roller coaster, I think it comes from being you're part of an authoritarian household and you're used to that kind of trauma, like the ride that makes no sense. I mean, what else could make sense? Otherwise, you would denounce Trump. None of this makes any sense. And he mentioned Singapore. So just understand that we have a bunch of countries that still, if these were reciprocal tariffs, there would be no 10% tariff, right? They're not tariffing us. If this was about fairness, there would be no tariffs. This is just about Trump, his ego, his lies, his random belief in tariffs. None of it makes any logical sense for any reason. Okay, I want to move on to, I have a bunch of things that have to do with Congress to show you. Oh my God. And, oh yeah. So many things. I mean, every time I open this presentation, sorry, it keeps closing. It will stay open one of these times. Don't blame me, blame TikTok Studio. Thank you for tapping the screen. We're almost to 300K. I'm afraid it's just going to close again. I need to show you. Hold on. I don't know if I should close I need to turn off the casting and turn it back on. That's what I'm going to do. For some reason, that's the fourth time ever I tried to open the presentation and it closed. Okay. Now I'm linking it back to TikTok Studio. This is the problem with using Bluetooth to cast on the internet. It's not my... Okay, maybe that worked. Here we go. One last time. Got it. Oh, well, now I know how to fix it. That's happening. Okay, and now I want to show you. So it's not just Trump, right? JD Vance, and I showed you this multiple times when it comes to the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, how he was online, Couchboy was online pathologically lying, saying he was a convicted gang member, when in fact that man had never been charged with a crime in any country he's ever been in. Well, JD Vance was quiet after that. After I told you he got dragged off, I've never seen that many leftists come together to literally drag JD Vance off the internet. And he was quiet for days. Like on Monday, Ron Filipkowski, literally in his recap of what's going on in politics, is like, JD Vance has been quiet for like 4 days on the internet. Oh no, JD Vance. And then JD Vance comes back and does it again. Literally does it again. You want to know, like, calls Chinese people, the people, and I'm not talking about Chinese people living in America. I'm talking about the people of China, calls them peasants. And do you know what happened? I don't know how much you guys know or don't know about the Chinese government, but they censor their internet. So what normally, because they don't want people to hear outside opinions of people like Xi and their administration, their authoritarian regime. So they don't let people hear what other governments are saying. They let them hear, yeehaw, thank you for the hats. They let these people hear JD Vance calling them peasants. So that's one way I know this trade war is not going to end well for us. Like these people, I was reading like different comments, right? This is one of the few things from America that got through is JD Vance insulting the people of China.
Will Ripley is out front in Taipei.
Well, good morning, everybody. The American hillbilly versus China's so-called peasants. It all started with this. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. From Chinese peasants. Vance's Chinese peasants comment reaching Beijing within hours. The government's response? Swift and scathing.
It's both astonishing and lamentable to hear this vice president make such ignorant and disrespectful remarks.
On China's tightly controlled internet, government censors are allowing Vance's interview to go viral, amplifying the outrage, igniting anger and sarcasm. Have you said thank you for the money we lent you? A reference to China being the second largest foreign holder of U.S. government debt, and that infamous Oval Office.
Imagine starting a trade war with the second largest holder of our debt. Do you understand what they could do? They are the second largest holder of U.S. debt. They loan us money, and we are calling them peasants.
Exchange with Ukraine's president. You should be thanking the president. One hashtag about the Chinese peasants remark shot to the top of China's Twitter-like platform Weibo, with millions of views and counting. Many comments boasting of China's modern achievements. Look, this is their true face, arrogant and rude as always. We may be peasants, but we have the world's best high-speed rail, the most powerful logistics, and leading AI and drone technologies. Aren't such peasants quite impressive? Former Global Times editor Hu Xijin posted on Weibo, this true peasant, who came out of rural America, seems to lack perspective. Many people are urging him to visit China and see reality with his own eyes. Many in China are interpreting Vance's comments as describing all Chinese people. Some even referencing Vance's memoir and movie. How many times have you seen this? As one social media post put it, the author of Hillbilly Elegy is calling Chinese peasants? Really?
I mean, Will, it is incredible when you see in moments like this, just, sort of the overflowing, patriotism that we're seeing here. Why do you think Beijing is allowing these comments to go viral? I mean, they could easily censor them if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, we get censored all the time on this program, but if you look at the live signal from Beijing right now, we are on the air. They're letting this go out across the country. And I think the reason why they're even amplifying and encouraging people to talk about this is because China knows it's on the verge of a very serious situation with this trade war. Like the Chinese embassy just a few minutes.
Steve, I don't know what you mean by what is the bottom line. What are you not grasping? JD Vance, during this trade war 3 days ago, decided to call the people of China peasants and said we shouldn't be borrowing money. The way we offset our debt is we borrow money from places like China, the second largest holder of our debt, which they could call in. And he decided to say that we shouldn't be borrowing money from peasants. These people are peasants, and they are making the comparison to him writing a book called Hillbilly. They were like, why is a hillbilly calling the people of China peasants? But the real point is we're in the midst of a trade war, which China will not back down from. There's no point in backing down. If you back down once, you just will be leveraged by Trump again. All you have to do is ask AI, should anyone back down from Trump? You back down to a narcissist once. They just leverage you again. It's not. So China's like, no. And it's very simple. Anybody who could do math, which I said this is now the third time I've said it this live, but it's called coupled economies. If the Chinese economy fails, and they're the holder of our debt, we fail. It's called mutually assured destruction. That's why China's not backing down. None of this can continue. Who can survive this longer? My guess is China. We've got people, when gas gets to be $5 a gallon, that want to off themselves in this country. Let me see. Who is used to being more uncomfortable? It's not people here. I would bet on China's ability to outlast us any day. They live in an authoritarian regime. I think, as do we, very obviously, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, this is another example of couch boys shitting the bed. What is the point of calling the second largest holder of our debt note peasants? It's not great. And if the people of China were going to be mad at Xi or say, we're not behind you, they used this video to galvanize support. Normally, you can't see American politics in China on social media, but they allowed this video through to galvanize the people of China behind Xi. This is something that JD Vance should just not have said. It's just an example of these people. We're not playing chess. We have a bunch of idiots running our country. They can't do basic math. They don't know they know nothing about economics. They're hurling insults because of their own insecurity. And in no way is it helping any of us. I suppose that's the bottom line. This is just the latest in the constant string of JD Vance's failures. He never stops failing. I don't know how else to describe it, except JD Vance is an abject failure. He did not speak on the internet for days after he got ran off X for lying about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and his return is him messing up again. But anyways, this is just going to piss you off, but Rand Paul this morning was speaking to CNBC and basically saying, right, he's the only Republican senator that is saying that Trump's trade war is ridiculous and it needs to stop. And Rand Paul is saying on the news that he's being, well, first I'm going to let him describe it because he's absolutely right. He's the only person making any sense. But then one of the things he basically says during this interview is that other Republican senators who don't have the courage to speak up are going to him in secret and being like, keep going, you're doing a good job. This is what I mean. Our economy is going to crash. We're all going to lose our livelihood. Huge transfers of wealth. What is it? $6 trillion that's been transferred to the top of the economy now. And Republican senators don't have the nerve to say a word. This is infuriating to me.
We get here. How did the Republican Party get here? Senator?
How did we all get here? I mean, the whole debate is so fundamentally backwards and upside down. It's based on a fallacy. And the fallacy is this, that somehow in a trade, someone must lose. That somehow when you trade with someone, there's a loser and someone's taking advantage of you and China's ripping you off or Japan's ripping you off. It's absolutely a fallacy. Every trade that occurs in the marketplace is mutually beneficial. If you have a free society and I trade with you, if you want to sell me your coat and I give you $200 for it, we both agree to it and we're both happy with the trade. No American consumer trades with China. They trade with Walmart, or they may buy something from China, but they individually buy something they want and they make a decision. The trade is always a win-win. Now, you could artificially do this accounting between countries and say, oh, trade deficit, look at this trade deficit. But I have a trade deficit with my grocery store. People who employ me, if I work for Corvette and they employ me, they have a trade deficit with my labor. They buy my labor and I never buy their cars. So you can have this artificial accounting and it makes it look like a bad thing, but you have to ask yourself, is trade good or bad? And if you look at the trade deficit, in times of a recession, the trade deficit goes down. So if the tariffs push us into a recession, we could reduce the trade deficit because we're all buying less stuff. We have to get back to the fundamentals of, is trade good or is trade bad?
Yeah, well, I mean, the day I thought I agree with this liar, I mean, normally Rand Paul makes 0 sense and is engaged in supporting Trump, but on this, he's right. We are never bringing, let me help you. The only way we can bring manufacturing back to the United States is if they drain all of the middle class and lower class's wealth and we become actual slaves. We become slave laborers in factories. They will not, right? This is when we established labor laws, was when United States corporations offshored manufacturing because they did not want to pay a living wage. They did not want to give us healthy working conditions, so they left the country. Yeah, I mean, you can read Peter Thiel's essays. That's what Peter Thiel wants. He does not. He says democracy is dead, that middle and lower class people in America are free range cattle. And as long as we're willing to work ourselves to death, we should be allowed to remain free range. If we stop cooperating and aren't working, we should be detained in labor camps. And listen to this. This is when Rand Paul says, hey, other Republicans agree with me, which I know. I talk to you guys all the time. I'm obsessed with Capitol Hill. I read all like the congressional pages and like the people that work for people on Capitol Hill's blogs, like, and they all say the same thing. Republicans hate Trump, but not one of them has enough spine to stand up to him. And listen to Rand Paul saying, oh yeah, they're all secretly telling me to keep going and keep saying the truth, but none of them will join me. Spineless.
You are maybe getting some support and some praise from Democrats, but the support and praise from Republicans, you're saying that you're getting it, but these are individuals that you don't even want to be on the record for saying that. Is that fair to say?
It's a quiet whisper, and people come up to me in the hall. You know how in Atlas Shrugged, they would come up and say, who is John Galt? They whisper in my ear, free trade is good. Keep going, keep going. But they don't want to say it because of the politics of it. And look, when I put free trade articles on my Twitter account, I get mobbed. I mean, I get what they call ratioed. I get more comments than likes, which they say isn't good. But we have to have this debate, and people have to understand that trade is between individuals, not countries, and it's a false accounting. So I'm committed to this. I'll keep talking about it. And there's one graph, if you look at it, and it has trade. Trade for the last 70 years went up exponentially, international trade, but so did GDP per capita. We get wealthy with trade, not without trade. It's such a fundamental debate that it's worth having.
Peter Thiel has written a series of essays, and those are the ideas of it. That democracy's over, that we all, I mean, you can read Peter Thiel's essays. No, I can't do all of your research for you, but yeah, you can just read Peter Thiel's essays. Like, just do basic Google searches and you can find the information. is my advice. Sorry, someone asked me if I can stop what I'm doing right now to find something for them. No, I cannot. Oh, yeah, and it gets worse.
We have to start from talking about the truth. One of the things they say with Canada is, oh, there's a 270% tariff on dairy products going from the U.S. into Canada. Well, you know what the real tariff is? 0. That's a big difference between what the truth is. So there's a certain amount of goods, dairy goods, that go to Canada every year, and they go at 0%. If we exceed a certain amount, there's this ridiculous 270% tariff, but we've never encountered it, and the USMC renegotiated it and raised the level that's under 0. Trump should be congratulated for USMC raising the amount of dairy that goes in at 0. But we have to have an honest debate. We can't go around saying that there's a 270% tariff when that's not really the truth. We have to start from talking.
Amen. I mean, the day I thought it's upside down. We're in bizarro world. Rand Paul's the only person that has the guts to say any of this. I mean, think about it. Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, these are people that voted alongside Senate Democrats to vote Trump's tariff power down, but still will not show their faces and do an interview like this. You know, it's Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. They voted with Rand Paul alongside Senate Democrats to end Trump's tariff power. Again, Congress can stop this anytime they want. This is not a power a normal president has.
I want to cut spending. I want to balance the budget, support so many things, but I can't support a fallacy that is going to make us lose our wealth. I have a retirement account too. I want my retirement account to stay there, and I think tariffs is going to decimate it. I want to cut spending.
I mean, facts. Oh, this is good. And I love this. So I'm just going to show you now because I know everyone's going to be like, who is that? Who made this? This is the TikTok account. If you don't know who this is, it's at class with Mr. Jeremy, which I followed him for a while. But yeah, I can show it to you again after, but I'm just telling you it's at class with Mr. Jeremy because this is a really good video. And I think he does a great job of talking about like the fallacies from a speech and debate point and pointing out how absurd this all is. Wait, what just happened?
We have to
Hold
start.
on. I'm sorry. Did I go the wrong way? Oopsies. Hold on. Give me 1 second to find it. You guys don't have to watch this, but where's the video? Oh, don't worry. I have it. This is the best video too, so I have to find it. Sometimes I wouldn't waste my time finding it, but it's too good to not show you guys. Oh, it's even farther than I thought. Found it. And again, it's at class with Mr. Jeremy. What you're about to hear. That's his TikTok account.
I believe that it's going to work, and I know that what we were doing wasn't working. Yes. So I think we have to try this, and I have a high confidence ratio it's going to work.
Hey everybody, this is Jeremy, your resident economics expert, and would you like to know how people do political bait and switches to trick you into believing a lie? All you have to do is take two lies and put them so close together that the focus is on the second lie. No one really pays attention to the first lie, so they automatically accept it as true. But by accepting the first lie, it makes it easier for them to accept the second lie, and this is what happened in this video before me. Since you're focused on the second lie, that the new thing that Trump is doing is actually going to work, you just accept the first part. Well, what was happening wasn't working, so now I'm more willing to accept the second lie because the first lie needed no proof at all. And yet, here we are under the Biden economy as the envy of the world. Here's our manufacturing up under Biden, a lot. Here's Biden's gross GDP. Here's Biden's employment. Here's Biden's falling sticky consumer price index. Here's the indicator that Trump used more than any other indicator in his first term, that he was a good president. Here's Biden's Dow Jones Industrial Average. So when someone comes around and says, well, what we were doing wasn't working, stop them right there. Don't even let them get to the second lie. What wasn't working? Was it the unemployment? Was it interest rates? Was it inflation falling? Was it jobs going? Was it GDP? Was it the stock market? Was it manufacturing? Was it infrastructure? Was it technology investment? Was it companies onshoring back to the United States? Because all those things were moving in the positive direction under Joe Biden. I'll tell you the same thing that I say over and over again. Don't accept the premise of their question.
And why I say debating on TikTok is charity. Like if you debate, if your opinions are formulated and they're data driven, right? I know I'm right. I'm not showing up to a debate trying to like appeal to people's emotions. I know I'm right. I know Joe Biden recovered the best in the G7. I know that Trump inherited a bull market. I know the cover of The Economist said that our economy was the envy of the world when Donald Trump inherited it. I know these things to be true. Someone asked who it is. Let me see. Can I enlarge? Oh, hold on. You're looking at something different. Oh, yeah. I'm outside the presentation.
I believe
hold on. I got to find it again. Let me find I can show you. It's at class with Mr. Jeremy. Here it is. This is, it's at class with Mr. Jeremy. If you want to follow him, he's great. I followed him for like a year. So I highly recommend you can follow him. Tons of factual information, full width, at class with Mr. Jeremy. Oh, thank you, Joanna. Sorry, I didn't notice you had it pinned. Okay, let me get back in the presentation. But yeah, nobody should have any fear debating on TikTok. MAGA just simply are wrong. It's that simple. You're not right. Like, you're just yelling your feelings, and your feelings are incorrect. Yeah, I need to get to all this congressional stuff because it's so important. But before that, I need to get to one more very important thing, which I don't know if you guys know who Eddie Glaude is. He is a Princeton professor. I actually think he's a history professor, which we all know how much I love history because these presentations keep closing. It's so annoying. He's a history professor at Princeton, but he's a black man. The intellect coming out of this man. If you don't know who Eddie Glaude is, it's Glaude. He does, what am I trying to say? He's a contributor, like an expert that contributes on MSNBC. I mean, he's amazing. And I want to show you something he said yesterday, which I haven't seen him for a while because I had to take a little break from other than Rachel Maddow, quite obviously, but I had to take a little break from MSNBC. But I haven't seen Eddie Glaude for a while, and man, this man is amazing.
I don't know what it's going to take for the American people, for 78 million Americans, to deal with what motivated them to make the choice to elect this man again, to make the choice that will allow these people to undermine every fundamental assumption we have, that you can just be disappeared. And then they can argue that, a court is getting in the way of their ability to exercise, foreign policy in some ways, right? I don't know what it's going to take for 78 million Americans to deal with what motivated them to make this choice. And the choice that they've made, we have to just be honest, is to literally throw the Republican to the trash bin. And this is just one example. The tariffs is another, right? They made the choice. Now, what was behind it? We have to grapple with it. Because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy. And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman. So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the republic than for that to have happened. And until we grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
God, I mean, now that is intellect. That is somebody who's thinking, period. That's the truth. Think about the reaction when Obama was president for 8 years. These people would rather drive they would rather see their own financial future disappear than admit a black woman was the most competent candidate in the last election. Period. This is a man who said, I literally laid it all out. I'm going to crash the economy. I'm going to do all these things. And I mean, and that's if your argument is I didn't know any of this, well, then I mean, that's an indictment on yourself, not on me. But Donald Trump, every single thing that is happening now, Donald Trump said he was going to do. The left screamed it from the hilltops. And all we heard is, that's part of the reason I stopped debating. I can't debate idiocy. I can't debate ignorance. I can't debate people that cannot recognize unconscious bias. That's why I talk about this, right? I don't think Billy from Arkansas is in KKK meetings. I'm not saying there isn't a Billy from Arkansas in Triple K meetings. There probably is. But I'm saying the average American who couldn't vote for Kamala Harris, that's something, it's called unconscious bias, right? It's called misogynoir, discrimination specifically against black women in society. It is unconscious. I don't think doctors walk into rooms where black women are sick and need help and say, hey, I'm not going to believe a word this woman says, that I'm going to let her unalive. It's unconscious bias that needs to be identified. Why would I rather lose my financial future? Why would I want this economy to go down in flames? Why would I want to see the end of democracy? Why would I elect a 34-time felon before admitting that a black woman was overly qualified for the job? And the way he said it, until America can grapple with that without being defensive and acknowledge each of us individually, we have some work to do. Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, I can't protest my way out of the fact that people cannot see their own ignorance. And again, this is Ed Glaude. He's a history professor from Princeton, one of the most brilliant minds in the country. I could never get enough of this man. He is a genius. So if you can follow him all across the internet. He's amazing.
More sophisticated now than computers.
I don't know why I'm not getting updates in my email. Something weird is going on with my email. Am I logged? I'm logged into the wrong account. Am I? Something is happening here. Thank you, Julie. You're getting this, then it means I got my social security check this month. Mark saved from homelessness in April. Oh, Julie, you're the best. That is hilarious. I've been marked safe from homelessness. Aunt Julie, great to hear from you. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you for the $10. Now I'm marked safe from homelessness. That just made me smile. God knows I need to smile. Thank you. And thank you, Cindy, for subscribing. Awesome. I have so many things to get to. I'm just trying to decide. Okay. I think it's important enough. This is a long clip, but I just think it's so important. This is a woman who's a lawyer, and she testified in front of Congress. It is her testimony, right? When we talk about Trump leveraging, some would say blackmailing law firms like Skadden Weiss, who are now offering Trump millions in free legal services. Oh, I shudder to even, it's hard for me to even talk about this stuff, but we need to hear this because it's so important.
Hi
Hi, I just testified in front of Democrats on the House Judiciary and Senate Judiciary committees. That testimony is here. I am so sorry I had to run out. So many of you were so kind to me after I had a pre-existing commitment at CNN. But here is that testimony. The whole hearing is available on YouTube, and I think it's screening on C-SPAN later this evening. And I really hope that you watch it because things are bad, but there is hope. Thank you.
Ms. Cohen, your opening statement, and I should take a second of personal privilege over here in the Senate just to say that Ms. Cohen was very close friends with my son Tommy at Harvard Law School, and he always told me that you were a woman of great intelligence and great character. It's good to see you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to the members today. I acknowledge this is not the first Monday of unemployment that I anticipated, but I am appreciative to be here. On March 20th, I tendered my conditional resignation to Skadden Arps, where I was employed as a finance associate. I did so because I believe our country is teetering on the brink of authoritarianism.
Skadden is one of the law firms that caved to Trump and is offering him millions in free legal services that he's now using to attack people.
And that many leaders of our most prestigious and profitable law firms recognize this risk and choose to ignore it because they are afraid. It's likely they're afraid of losing profits, but I think it's also likely that these leaders are afraid because standing up to authoritarianism is scary. It is easier to ignore what is happening than to acknowledge the fight that lies ahead. I resigned amidst a series of attacks on the legal profession that began on February 25th when the Trump administration stripped large law firm Covington and Burling of government contracts for representing special counsel Jack Smith during his investigation of the president. Then, the president entered an executive order against law firm Perkins Coie, not only stripping Perkins of government contracts, but also targeting third-party contractors that retain Perkins as counsel.
I want to be clear. So Perkins Coie, and I've talked about this several times, but I just want to remind you how serious it is what you're hearing. Perkins Coie is where Mark Elias matriculated from. It was his law firm. My brother also, who's a very rich corporate lawyer, came from Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie, in Trump's first administration, is the law firm that did an investigation and legally went after Trump for his campaign's ties to Russia, right? They investigated and legally held Trump accountable for the Trump campaign and their ties to Russia infiltrating elections. And Mark Elias has since left Perkins Coie. He started his own law firm. He does a lot of the voter suppression cases for the Democratic Party. If you don't follow Mark Elias at Democracy Docket, you can follow him all across the internet. He's a legal genius. But this is why Trump has held this grudge against them. And instead of backing them, other huge law firms even bigger than Perkins Coie are offering Trump millions in free legal fees to back off them. Now, anyone who retains Perkins Coie, Trump is punishing them because they refuse to cave to Donald Trump.
Again, the administration named Perkins's past representation of clients and causes the president dislikes as the cause. Perkins chose to fight back. It challenged this blatantly unconstitutional order and successfully won a temporary restraining order the next day. In a normal presidency, this sends a message to the administration: press pause while the Perkins executive order is litigated. But the president continued to enter executive orders targeting firms based on past representation. Enter Paul Weiss, the next target of an executive order. Instead of fighting back, Paul Weiss offered the Trump administration $40 million in pro bono legal services for pet projects and promised to evaluate hiring and retention practices in partnership with the president. He withdrew the order. Paul Weiss's decision was a stunning betrayal of the firm's associates and the legal system that made its partnership very, very rich. Like calling this hearing, resignation was not my first choice. Throughout this period, associates across the industry were engaged in measured advocacy internally and externally, hoping to get our firms to band together and stand up to the administration's attacks on the broader legal profession. Paul Weiss's capitulation made me realize.
I don't know why you're here, Flash. I will block you. This is a place for people whose brains work. Yours does not. So I'm helping you out here. If you continue saying ignorant things that are very clearly and easily disprovable, I will just block you. Like that, this is your one warning before I block you. Like, I do not give a shit what you think. I've debated you on several occasions. I already know how little your logic is based in fact. I'm sure you're about to have an emotional breakdown right now while I'm saying this. So either leave, but if you continue writing things that don't make any sense in my chat, I will just block you.
Firm leadership was not motivated to act collectively. I became certain my employer was not going to be brave, and so I resigned. I was
I did just block him, just so everyone knows, because you get one warning. This is not this is not spaces for idiots to say incorrect things. And no, his brain does not work. I've literally sat with him in lives. Conservatives have attacked him for his brain not working. So yeah, that's not correct. And no, this is not restitution for previous bad acts, right? Law firms doing legal work that Trump does not like. You don't then owe him $40 million in free legal work so he doesn't use the power of the presidency to bankrupt your business. Period. I shouldn't have to explain that to someone whose brain works, but apparently your brain doesn't work.
Broken to be proven right 8 days later on March 28th, when Skadden promised the Trump administration $100 million in pro bono legal services despite no executive order being entered against them. Other associates resigned in protest, 2 of them publicly. They're sitting behind me, and I am so unbelievably grateful.
I just want to say this really quickly. I don't care if you're a mod. Nobody's allowed to block people in my life. I just want to be very clear. I do not need help blocking people ever. I will block people in my own life. Nobody else can block people in my life.
Grateful. We did so because our adversarial legal system only functions when parties have representation. Everyone deserves an advocate. That principle is invoked by law firm partners to justify high profit but distasteful representations. Everyone deserves an advocate. American justice is not sua sponte. Without skilled lawyers, meritorious lawsuits may never be brought in the first place. Public interest attorneys, themselves separately targeted by the administration, are now also scrambling to replace resources and attention these firms historically provide as they challenge unconstitutional actions and provide direct representation to clients in need. This is intentional. Courts are perhaps our last line of defense against authoritarianism. I was raised to advocate and to be aware of the racial, financial, and other privileges I hold that make it more likely that my voice will be heard in halls of power. I am the daughter of 2 government attorneys who both served their country in the United States Air Force. I
just want to be clear. I don't want people to block anyone's backup. And now I don't even know what his backup's name is, so to unblock it. I don't want anyone blocking anyone in my live. I've never instructed anyone to block anyone. In fact, I've done the exact opposite. And if I'm speaking to someone, I would definitely not block them while speaking to them. So if anyone's under the impression I need help deciding who is allowed in my live or not in my live, I do not.
In high school in Ohio, my best friend was one of the only Latina students in our graduating class and faced overt racism. And I remember following a particularly egregious incident when we went to the principal together, how my outrage was heard as much or more than hers. After studying political science at The Ohio State University, I spent 4 years teaching in Providence Public Schools, and my students, some of whom I know are watching right now, are brave and smart and bold, but there were many times where, despite the self-evidence of my students' brilliance, people did not believe it existed until a white native English speaker pointed it out. Acceptance to Harvard Law School and employment at Skadden made my already powerful voice even louder. The cowardice or apathy in some of these spaces at times caused disillusionment, but those dear to me, including your son, Congressman Raskin, made sure I remembered that just because such cowardice is common doesn't make it acceptable, and as you said, courage is a choice. I was asked here because my voice is loud, but I came here for the same reason I resigned. It is important for the very real people whose voices are not heard in the same way to have an advocate today and always. This advocacy cannot be defined by fear of future retribution. My students and non-white friends and colleagues deserve brave advocates. Mahmoud Khalil, Rumaiza Ozturk, Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, and Andre Jose Hernandez Romero deserve brave advocates. People seeking abortion care or birth control or gender-affirming care deserve brave advocates. And to be clear, everyone else, the law firm partners enabling this slide into autocracy, the voters who put Trump into office and are waiting and will wait forever for him to care about the difficulties that they face. Those of us in this room today, we all deserve brave advocates. The administration cannot pick and choose who gets representation. It cannot use executive power to scare lawyers out of advocacy. If we allow any president to dictate who deserves a lawyer, our legal system fails. Like firm leaders, I am afraid of where this intimidation campaign leads. But unlike most of them, I will not allow my fear to manifest as silence. I choose courage. Thank you.
I mean, amazing. If you want to follow her, it's at Cohen489. That's bravery. And it is weird. It's always women standing up. Maybe we are feeling a little bit on the edge, like we're next up, but we need more men that have privilege in society speaking up like this. That was amazing. I listened to that like 3 times. I will continue listening to that. Oh, gross. Sorry. I didn't mean for you guys to have to see that, all of that, but I love that. And now I want to show you. So, okay. I told you I have a bunch of congressional things and we must get to them because they are important. So I'll show you some stuff from a Doge hearing, which I don't know if anyone caught it. And I do intend to get to it, but I've, recently stopped playing Trump's clips of Trump pathologically. Oh, actually, maybe I'll just find the clip first so you guys can be enraged alongside me. Trump went on 2 really ridiculous rants. Number 1, remember I told you Trump keeps making up weird lies about clean coal? He had a press conference in the White House saying he's bringing the coal mines back, which is the most delusional, weird stuff, which tells me some lobbying group gave Trump money to say these things, and it doesn't make sense. And then the second delusional speech was last night. Trump was dressed like some band player on the Titanic while it was going to, and attacked Jasmine Crockett. Which that's pretty much how you know you're making a difference when Trump is starting to attack you. Just like Mark Elias, who was at Perkins Coie when he started to hold Trump accountable, and Trump used to just attack Mark Elias in his speeches relentlessly. Now Trump is trying to attack Jasmine Crockett in his speeches. And before I play a clip of her in a Doge hearing, I want to just play this clip of Trump attacking her because should we be surprised? Probably not, but it's disgusting. Oh, here it is. Imagine you're the president of the United States driving the economy into the ground, grifting, stealing Social Security from people. You're a full-time grifter, and you still have time to attack a black woman in Congress. It's pretty insecure of you. It's weird.
Sir, I said, well, you got my endorsement. And he won by a lot, and he's never looked back. He's a fantastic guy and a great political leader, a great politician. Brian Jack. Where are you, Brian? Where are you, Brian? Hi, Brian. Great job. Proud of you, Brian. And more than 160 members of Congress, and I'd like to really, you've done incredibly well. They're really looking back. And, I said before, the Democrats have taken a lot of beatings. They have lost their confidence. They've gone crazy they've gone crazy. How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? Is that real? Are they serious about it?
We're serious. And if you weren't insecure about her, you would not be mentioning her right now. Like, it's unbelievable. And think about how much time, I just want to remind you, like, this is the same person that has spent hours of time attacking Letitia James, another black woman. I believe she's 3-0 in court against Trump, right? That's the Attorney General of New York. Think of all the stuff he said about Kamala Harris. Trump seems to really not like strong black women who stand up to him. Women in general, but particularly strong black women. Are we serious about a lawyer who, I mean, I could list her accolades. This is Jasmine. Let me help you. Jasmine Crockett is more qualified to be president on her worst day than Donald Trump is. But apparently being a woman and being black is some sort of deficiency, and men can't get there in their minds. Kamala Harris learned that lesson. Again, another person whose resume, I mean, Trump doesn't have a resume qualifying him to be president. As a matter of fact, his resume disqualifies him. This is a person who did a coup, who's a 34-time felon, who's been credibly accused and found liable of SA. I mean, Trump's resume disqualifies him from being in the White House, but apparently when compared to an overqualified black woman, for some reason, it makes him more qualified. And everyone, like Eddie Glaude was saying, professor from Princeton, needs to grapple with why. Why, by nature of just being a black woman, who has all the qualifications, who has all the intelligence, are you not qualified over a 34-time felon who couldn't find his way out of a paper bag? Anyways, this is Jasmine yesterday in a DEI. Sorry, someone typed DEI and I was looking at that, and in Doge hearing.
About efficiency and worry about some solar paneled whatevers. Let's talk about the fact that as of March 30th, Trump's golfing has cost us approximately $26 million. And the last time I checked, we're not getting anything in return for that. So I will get back on my remarks, but I just wanted to point out that maybe we need to talk about the president and his golfing habits. In fact,
and I just want to point out, because these MAGA, like the guy who just showed up in my chat saying things that don't make any sense, right? These are the people who can't count or read and talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, if you could count or read, you'd know that we're not finding waste, fraud, and abuse. But part of what you're accusing people of being waste, fraud, and abuse is medical research. And we know for every tax dollar we spend on any medical research, we infuse or inject, whatever word you like more, $2.56 into the American economy. It is a return on investment. We fuel the American economy with medical research. And I have to hear people that can't read or use logic or very clearly reason say, why would we study reproduction in lemurs? Yeah, I mean, you saying that out loud is a sign you can't read. Period. Because medical research fuels our economy. The patents we gain from medical research, we make money off of. We create jobs off of. Period. Medical research equals a good thing. Trump in 3 months, or I think it's day 80. I actually think exactly, or it's somewhere, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's right around day 80 of Trump's administration. And he has spent $26 million on golfing. $26 million. That's waste, fraud, and abuse. Do you guys know? And you can look this up, but again, MAGA, it would require you to be able to read that every time Trump is golfing, he charges the Secret Service higher rates in his hotels. We are being robbed. That is waste, fraud, and abuse. This man is getting rich, grifting his own supporters from crypto scams while sitting in the White House. And with your full chest, you'll tell me he's going to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. He is the waste, fraud, and abuse.
He decided that he was going to golf as the markets were tanking. He decided he was going to golf instead of receiving 4 heroes who died serving this country. He has decided that he wanted to play games while the rest of us are really trying to make sure that we can serve the American people. So, Mr. Maroney, about it.
I think that's fair. And now I understand why Trump was attacking her. This was yesterday, and that clip I showed you first was yesterday night. Someone pointing out facts in a congressional hearing, and then all of a sudden Trump's like, oh, there's Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, I wouldn't like someone pointing out you're a grifter either. Doesn't make it not true. I'd be intimidated by Jasmine Crockett as well. Which that's what it is, deep insecurity. He was supposed to introduce someone and spoke for like almost 2 hours, rambled, I shouldn't say spoke, told a bunch of lies for 2 hours last night. And then manipulated the markets the next day. And MAGA's still wondering what's going on. If you don't get it now, if you can't figure it out at this point, you're beyond help. There's a very clear pattern of behavior. God. Sorry, my presentation closed. Oh, here we go. Let's go. Wish me luck. Don't close. There we go. Same hearing. This is Robert Garcia.
We know that retirement accounts are being wiped out right now as we're holding this hearing. Companies, many of them, are no longer able to invest. People are losing their jobs. And we're here talking about furniture while Donald Trump is destroying the economy. We also know that...
Someone said long-term bonds get them rich. It really depends on when you invested in long-term bonds. Like, that's what Bill Ackman was pointing out about Howard Nutlick, right? The Commerce Secretary, that he had a huge position in long-term bonds prior to Trump spending the last week crashing the market. So then, just to give you an idea of how that would work, when the markets start crashing, investors flee to bonds, right? And Howard then gets rich. But you would have to hold that position prior to the manipulation. So if you're just a person, and I'm just giving example, like last week when the market started to tank, if you fled to bonds for safety, you're not making money off of it. But if you held a big position in bonds, let's say, I don't know, predicting that people were going to flee to bonds for safety, that's different.
Predicting a recession, which many are now doing, is looking more and more likely, which we hope, of course, doesn't actually happen. And while all this was happening and Donald Trump was imposing his tariffs plan and the prices of almost everything, groceries, housing, clothing, computers, can be expected to go up, Donald Trump, of course, the next day left to go play golf. Now, Mr. Kendall, were you aware that as the markets were crashing, Donald Trump the next day went out to play a few rounds of golf?
I do read the paper, so I did know that.
And perhaps maybe instead he should have been working with world leaders or allies to actually work on the tariff crisis. But instead, of course, he was, of course, on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, which is a very conservative paper, as we know. I think it's clear that Donald Trump could care less about the harm he's doing, doesn't care about American workers or the community. And unfortunately, Republicans in Congress want to debate office space and furniture while the president torches our own American economy and the global economy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reality of what's going on. And I just want, and I'm using MAGA's logic. I'm now using MAGA's logic. So if you are not a hypocrite or have no idea how to find your way out of a paper bag, then the logic you used for the last 4 years while Joe Biden was in office, you will use that same line of logic and apply it to Donald Trump. Biden would literally go on a bike ride in the morning and there'd be a picture and Fox News would report that Biden wasn't doing his job while we recovered the best in the G7 from the pandemic. But under your line of logic was that If you're not working 24, if you're not sitting in front of a desk looking like you're thinking 24 hours a day, then you should be removed from the presidency. So you were either lying then or you're lying now. You get to choose which one that is. Either you hold Trump accountable now, or you're a hypocrite who can't find their way out of a paper bag. That's your choice. My advice would be keep your line of logic and carry it straight through to Trump and say, this man's unfit for office. That would be that's sound logic. That would be something we call reasonable. That would demonstrate your ability to reason. But my guess is you won't be able to do that. That's logic. I mean, make a choice. Which one is it? Were you wrong about Biden? Or does Trump need to leave office? It can't be both. It can't be both. And here's the truth. And let me just extend your line of logic and show you how faulty it is. Nobody could plan for the pandemic. Not even Trump. Trump was in office when it started. Donald Trump couldn't plan for it. Joe Biden certainly couldn't plan for it. Right? But what Trump did the last week, tanking the economy, having people fire a third of their workforce, people capping wells instead of tapping them. What happened to drill, baby, drill? That was 100% avoidable. That was ballistic podiatry, a self-inflicted wound. Trump did not need to do any of what he's done. He inherited a bull market, an economy that was expected to expand, not contract. We have lost the faith of investors and countries around the world. None of it had to happen. He's not responding to a pandemic. So I'm helping you out here. If you can follow your own line of logic, Trump should be removed from office. Or you're a hypocrite and a liar. You guys get to choose which one it is.
You know how I like boards. I bring boards sometimes. You know, when President Zelensky came to the White House, right, to talk about trying to bring the conflict to an end, we heard a lot about what he was wearing. Oh my God, the precious Oval Office. He didn't wear a suit. I mean, here's a picture of Kid Rock in the Oval Office. He looks like he's about to jump over 10 buses, okay, when he's done on the White House lawn. Okay, so give me a little bit of a break. Okay, we can put that down now, I think.
Here's another example of logic. Should Kid Rock is Kid Rock a joke who should not be allowed in the Oval Office? Or were you wrong about a wartime President Zelensky? This is an example of not being a hypocrite. I'm helping you with your line of logic. You guys said Zelensky is a disgrace, has no respect, is unserious to show up in what he wears as a wartime president. So either Kid Rock is a disgrace and should never be allowed in the Oval Office again, or you're a hypocrite. That's how logic works. You have to apply the same logic you applied to one side to the other. Otherwise, you're a fool. So which one is it? I mean, truly, which one the F is it? Okay, so let's switch to the Senate for real quick. So today they're having hearings on tariffs thank you so much for 400K, and thank you, Nebula. I'll change that in a second. Thank you guys for tapping the screen so much. All of my research, all of these clips, everything I do with the people's receipts, I just rely on your guys' tips and donations. This is my Cash App and Venmo. If you would like to subscribe, please do. That's the star in the bottom left corner of your screen. Also, thank you for gifting. But now we're going to switch to Senate hearings. So yesterday they were having hearings in the Senate on tariffs. And it was going pretty bad. I feel bad for the people that were under oath trying to
sales tax is increasing prices for families. It's also causing huge losses in Americans' retirement savings. Ambassador Greer, would the administration reverse course if the president's tariffs led to 10% inflation?
Senator, the president is fixed in his purpose. This trade deficit and the offshoring and loss of manufacturing jobs is something that's persisted for too long, and it's dangerous.
I understand your justification for the policy, even though there are some very contradictory justifications coming out of the administration. But my question is, what's the inflation rate where you guys would reverse course? 10% inflation that I just asked you about, that is higher inflation than we saw at the peak of the COVID economic crisis.
And they said that Joe Biden, at the peak of trying to recover from Trump spending $8 trillion and betraying U.S. oil and trying to recover from all that, also the Ukraine war, none of which was Joe Biden's fault. When inflation got to be, what was it? It was like 8 or 9%. They said he should be impeached. And now they're asking, 10% inflation, is that wrong? And in case you recognize this man who's speaking, this is Jamison Greer. This is the same man that Horsford just ran over when Trump manipulated the markets. He was under oath in a congressional hearing. He was speaking with the Senate yesterday and was under oath in the House when Trump decided to pause reciprocal tariffs.
But you aren't going to say here today that you would reverse course even if you created inflation as high as we had at the peak of the COVID economic crisis.
I think the most serious inflation we saw was during the Biden administration. When we did tariffs in the first term, inflation went down. I just don't, it's not going to be a one-to-one. Inflation about
this is a trade representative. This man knows what he's saying is a lie. We're talking about blanket and fake reciprocal tariffs that will crash our economy. And he's lying through his teeth and saying, but we did tariffs. And by the way, the tariffs, guess who paid for those? Our tax dollars. They didn't yield money. Trump said, don't worry, we're going to tariff China and that's going to levy tax revenue. It didn't. That's why he contributed the third most of any modern president to the deficit, because the tariffs didn't yield revenue. So, I mean, this man's lying. Or
how much money you're putting in.
I'm sorry. Or he's an idiot. Or it's a combination of both. There are options.
Well, let's just be really clear that the Trump administration is here today to say that even if inflation hits Americans' pocketbooks at 10% because of these tariffs, then the Trump administration is still going to go charging ahead. So, Ambassador, would the administration reverse course if the president's tariffs caused a 50% stock market crash, which would hurt Americans' retirement savings even more than they've been hurt in the last 10 days or so?
Senator, the fundamentals of the economy are so strong. We had 228,000 jobs last month. We have 9,000 additional manufacturing jobs from the month before.
Your answer is even if the stock market crashes 50%, which is how much the stock market crashed in the Great Recession, you're not going to say here today that you would reverse course even if you crash the stock market and harm retirement savings as drastically as happened during the Great Recession in 2007.
Senator, your hypotheticals are not consistent with the history we have seen with the use of tariffs.
My hypotheticals are based.
There is no history for the idiocy that Donald Trump has pulled. And you know that. Like, this is a person who's allegedly an expert on trade. I thought my macro and microeconomic credits in college didn't make me an economic expert. Well, apparently I am. I know more than MAGA does about economics. I also read outside of the classes I took in college, but I mean, quite honestly, what are you talking about? It's not a one-to-one comparison. You are delusional. I can't even listen to this, which I don't believe that this man's not lying.
Based on the fact that a lot of Americans are looking at their 401ks today and wondering how much of a lifestyle change they are going to have, or whether they're going to be able to retire when they plan to, because of the recklessness and haphazard nature of the Trump administration's imposition of tariffs. Nothing was thought out about this. This has been a haphazard, incompetent effort, and it's showing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You, sir, for sitting under oath saying these lies, like I said, either you're an idiot or a liar. Both are embarrassing for you publicly. This is literally forever. This will be on the internet forever. I guess that's the difference between people that work for Donald Trump. Like, it's better to just embarrass yourself. You've pledged loyalty for him, so ending up under the wheels of the bus and looking like an absolute idiot is not a big deal. It must be weird to not have a spine. I have no idea, but that's what it's giving. These people have no spines. Oh, I'm getting so impatient. Oh, I'm sorry. My presentation closed again. That's what you're seeing. It's TikTok Studio, not me. I'm casting this from my iPad and it just closes sometimes. Hopefully we can get somewhere. Oh my God. Well, anyways, I have 10 more videos about people in the Senate hearing lying about tariffs, but actually I'm going to have to turn this off and reconnect it. It seems like that's the only way that this stops from closing. Sorry, I'm just going to stop casting and restart again. There we go. Okay. Do you guys remember? I'm trying to remember why I was playing the last video. I was showing you guys, what day was it? It was like we were all so depressed. It wasn't Liberation Day, was only a week ago. Something like traumatic happened and we were all stressed out. I'm trying to remember what Trump had done that we were like, oh my God, what has happened? It was something with Putin. I can't remember, but I was showing you I was like, I think this sums up the absolute insanity of what Trump's done. It might have been an executive order or something, but it was like this AI video that was made and it was like this insane fashion show. So I found I don't know who, well, I know who made this video and I deleted the last video, so I'll never know if it's made by the same person. But look at this. So this is runway of tariffs, right? And I was like, oh, this perfectly describes what Trump did for the last week. Global trade has never looked this good. It was made by Luma Labs AI, which it is astonishing what AI could do. But look, if you had to sum up the last week of our lives and what Trump did with tariffs, I guess laugh so you don't cry, but I find this hilarious. Someone asked who it was made by. I just showed you. It's made by Luma Labs AI. So I don't think it's the same. The last time I saw a video like this, I think it's someone different. But I find these videos hilarious because it kind of just sums up everything. I don't know why my email wasn't updating, but it is now. So now I see. Mona, thank you for the $20. I appreciate it so much, aka Storyteller. Thank you so much. Jeremy, thank you for the $5 for your school tuition. Once those school vouchers come in, you won't have to pay me anymore. Terry, you're my favorite person on TikTok to listen to. I just wanted to thank you. No, thank you, Terry. Thank you. It means the world to me. You're the best. But I love, where did I get this at? On X. This is where it's at, who posted it, but I can also, hold on. If you're in the Discord, and this is a good opportunity to join the Discord. Again, if the link doesn't work, that's in, whether you're on Twitch right now, you're on YouTube, or you're on TikTok, just go to my link tree in my profile, and there's a link to the Discord. Copy and paste it into your browser, and then you can join, and I'll find this video and send it to everyone. I try to make sure, again, all of the outlines are available in the Discord in the live sources section. If you're ever just like, oh, I loved that one video and I want to go find it, I do post all these outlines. So, the hundreds of videos I go through, they are all included. I'll find it. I'll find it in a second, but it is somewhere. I feel like I'm almost there. Yeah, I'll find, what is it called again? Runway of Tariffs. Almost. I can feel it. Oh, there it is. Got it. It's 79 in the outline, but I'm going to at everyone. So if you want to find it later, it'll be in the general chat. But if you're in the Discord, I'm literally just going to send it to you in a notification right now. Because yeah, like I said, whenever I find these funny videos, we all need to laugh. So send it to everyone. I just sent, oopsies. That was my sucker. No more red sucker. I only have 600 more to go. So yeah, just sent it to everyone in the Discord. Join the Discord. If you do join the Discord and you still want access to it, it is in the general chat. But again, this is, if you wanted to try to find it on X, at N_rerun. Oh, you guys can't see. I was like, why can't anyone see this? At N_reruns or interdimensional TV. That's where I found it. But I think some other people, a lot of people reposted this, like on X. So you could also, but this is where the original poster was at N_reruns. But again, if you're one of the 900 plus people in the Discord, it's on your phone now. Who does not need to laugh? We all do, or we're going to die. We're not going to make it without laughter. And again, if you want to see in the outline in the Discord, all of these clips of congressional hearings, I have like progressive links to if you want to watch everyone just attack that man over tariffs. But I don't think, in the interest of time, since now I realize I wasn't thinking last night when Fax told me when he was debating, because normally I'll go live to like 5, 6, but I'm realizing we have an hour and then Fax is going to be live and try to get some debates. And since it's to make some money for someone, I don't want to be live during that time. So we have an hour and 7 minutes. Let's tap the screen. Let's get to 450K as fast as possible. And I'm going to skip over that congressional hearing. But again, all the links are in the Discord if you're interested in seeing it or want to use it for research or posting things. I don't want to deprive people, but I want to make sure I get to the most important things. Okay, I have 2 important things to talk about, and I think the best way is to show you the bill first. It's just, I will say, it's not Trump's strategy, but flooding the airways with shit, which was originally Steve Bannon's strategy, is working because I feel like the most egregious things happening are somehow falling through the cracks and no one's talking about them. Yesterday, and I'll show you these debates on the floor because I think they're important, but first I want to show you what, in my opinion, was one of the worst bills. It's HR 1526, which they voted on in this past. So I just want to be clear. And if you're wondering, like, what do you mean by floor debate? But like, when they're about to pass a bunch of bills, they have to allow debates on the floor so everyone can kind of get a few minutes and scream that this is ridiculous or be there in support of it, whatever the case may be. House Resolution 1526 NORA of 2025. What is that? Yeah, it's not great. Again, this is a bill that the House has moved through to limit the power of federal judges. This is real life. They are changing the law to limit the power of the judiciary. And to be clear, this is a Congress who's already given up their own power. Conservatives are in charge and they've ceded all of their power to Trump. And now not only are they like, we don't want to be a check and balance on this crazy man in the executive branch. They're saying we're going to help him take power from the federal judiciary. That's what they were up to yesterday. And I haven't heard a lot of people like really describing how awful it is. To amend Title 28 United States Code to limit the authority of district courts to provide injunctive relief or for other purposes. Basically, they're mad at all the injunctions that more injunctions than ever before have been ruled on and filed against Trump in court. And the answer to that is not amend the law and limit the power of the federal judiciary. The answer would be stop breaking the law, but not in spineless conservatives' minds. They're just going to change the law. And the way this House resolution works is that if a federal judge rules against Trump, it can only affect his district or that district, right? That judge represents versus the entire country. So when a federal judge rules now and says you can't fire any more federal workers, it can only be in that local area that they represent. You can see limitation on authority of United States district courts to provide injunctive relief. I mean, they're literally taking away the power. Here we go. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, no United States district court shall issue any order providing for injunctive relief, except in the case of such an order that is applicable only to limit the actions of a party to the case before such district court with respect to the party seeking injunctive relief from the district court. I mean, it literally means like, hey, he can decide for that area and that person, but not the entire country. It's to give Trump more power to F with people, as if Congress has already ceded all of their power. They have no spines, and now they're trying to limit the power of the federal judiciary. We should be unbelievably upset that this is happening. Sorry, I'm just making sure I see where these videos start. I'm going to go outside the presentation. I don't want to miss any. Raskin was amazing. I got to start with Jim McGovern. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to find these one by one. The gentleman from Massachusetts, the ranking member of the Rules Committee, Jim McGovern. And again, they're debating 4 bills. So I want you to hear all of this. There's a lot of it's not the only bill, but that's the one that's like keeps me up. I mean, they all are awful, but just saying. Oh, I guess I should mention the other one, even though I've talked about it ad nauseum. The other one they're debating is the SAVE Act, which I've given the numbers on. I've done the research and showed you guys. Since 2002, there have been less than 100 documented instances of undocumented immigrants either attempting to register to vote or attempting to vote. It does not happen. We've had almost 1 billion ballots cast, or over 1 billion ballots cast in elections, and we've had less than 100 instances of attempted or voter fraud since 2002. The other way the SAVE Act is going to affect people is women. If you are married, if your name does not match the name on your birth certificate and you do not have a passport, you are no longer going to be able to vote. I would say get a passport. That's my advice immediately, but it doesn't matter because only a small amount of people are ever going to hear this. And I've talked about this with Dr. Danny, but in 2016, when Hillary Clinton ran against Trump the first time, conservative think tanks were doing research and realized we don't care if women are in red states and support the conservative agenda or they're in blue states and don't. If we stop women from voting, we'll never lose another election. Yes, passports aren't cheap. I agree. This is how Republicans are going to prevent women from voting. Christian nationalists are in control of our government. They want to repeal the 19th Amendment. I've played videos on this live of conservatives that work for Trump, like Russ Vought, saying we don't want women voting, but they're never going to be able to amend the Constitution. So this is the best option.
Not that these bills are any better the second time around. A bill that will make it harder for women to vote. A bill to let the Trump administration break the law. And 2 resolutions that stick it to consumers. Honest to God, Mr. Speaker, who asked for these? Which Trump donor wrote these measures?
Awful. None of this helps the average American. And still I have to hear MAGA show up in my comments and say asinine things. These are the same people that repealed the legislation. You know what they were debating last week? Repealing legislation that was going to go in effect to limit overdraft fees. You tell me, how does the average American benefit from credit card companies and banks charging more than $5 in overdraft fees? That's what, thanks Biden, and they literally passed legislation to stop that. None of this benefits the average American. If you support Trump, then I know you can't think or read, or it's some way you must be benefiting from this, and then you'd have to explain to me how, but I don't believe you are. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I left the presentation. I have to get to these one by one.
And meanwhile, what aren't we talking about on the floor right now? The tariffs. The tariffs. Not a peep about the tariffs. Not a peep about the chaos in the markets. Not a peep about the uncertainty this is causing. Not a peep about how this is going to screw over middle America. Never in my life have I seen anything like this. The president promised lower prices and a booming economy, and we're going to get higher prices and a recession. This is nuts. Trump isn't using tariffs strategically. He's launching an economic nuclear war, and we're all in the blast zone. This is a disaster. And even if you agree with these tariffs, which is nuts, put that aside. Even if you're a fan, can just one Republican admit that it's insane that one guy is making this call alone? Our founders fought a revolution to stop one person from having this much power. And so-called conservatives are rewriting the rules to dodge a vote in Congress. This is crazy. They're totally fine giving Trump unlimited power to do whatever the hell he wants, and they won't even let us vote.
Amen. That's what's going on in the House. Remember, every single, if in fact, and I mean if at this point, if we have midterm elections, yeehaw, thank you for the hat. If we have midterm elections, then all of these people that suddenly lost their spines and would not stand up to Trump need to go. This is ridiculous. There is no logical argument for how this benefits anyone's constituents, period. All this benefits are the rich, corporations, billionaires, and it makes sure you won't be targeted by Trump if you're a coward. That's it. There's no way any of this is good for anyone. So I'm just finding the next one. Yep, here we are. Why isn't the presentation closing now? That's really weird.
And I guess we're not going to get an answer, but it wasn't allowed because Republicans changed how time itself works in the House to prevent a...
Let me explain what he's talking about here. This is another disgusting thing Republicans did that does not benefit anyone. Remember, I was telling you guys that Anna Paulina Luna who was a former Freedom Caucus member and has the voting record of the far right of the far rights. Well, all she wanted was to be able to vote on a bill that would allow new mothers and fathers to vote by proxy for 3 months after your child is born. So you're not hauling newborns through airports and making them susceptible to illness. And she had the votes, right? I talked about this. There's something called a discharge petition, right? If you want to bring a bill to the floor, it has to go through the Rules Committee. This is our ranking member of the Rules Committee, Jim McGovern, as Democrats, but we're not in charge of the Rules Committee. We don't have the majority. So Mike Johnson and the ranking or the actual chair of the Rules Committee, who's Gross Virginia Fox, I believe, were blocking that resolution. So Anna Paulina Luna did something called a discharge petition. And again, she's a conservative. She went and collected 218 signatures of people that supported her. I can't remember how many. It's like 6 to 8 Republicans sided with her and signed the discharge petition. And what that does is says, we have the signatures, we're going around the Rules Committee, and we're going to force a vote on the House floor, whether you like it or not. And Mike Johnson tabled and sent everyone home last week, and no business happened because of it. And his solution to that was to change the rules. And that's what you're going to hear Jim McGovern talking about, and not because I think he's so scared of people voting by proxy, but that if they could gather the signatures for a discharge petition once to evade the Rules Committee, they could probably do it again to stop Trump from doing this tariff stuff. That's what they're trying to do. The Senate has already passed a bill to stop Trump from doing these tariffs. And Mike Johnson is running cover for Trump. So he's made it one long day forever. So I'm sorry, I skipped a little something. Once a discharge petition gathers 218 signatures and it's filed, I think there's like 3 days. I believe it's like 72 hours to hold a vote on it. So in order to avoid that ever happening again, Mike Johnson says it's one long day now. There's not Doesn't matter if you gather a discharge petition, because the rest of the 119th Congress is is it 48 hours? Thank you. It's not 72. If someone corrected me, it's 48. So to stop that from ever happening, in case anyone's like, oh, we'll go around the Rules Committee and we'll collect 218 signatures and we'll force a vote to the floor to stop these tariffs and take away Trump's tariff power. It's now just one long day in the 119th Congress. That is what... Oh, hi, African Night. Thank you guys for coming. Love African Night. Russ is great. But that's what Jim McGovern is talking about when he's talking about one long day.
And I guess we're not going to get an answer, but it wasn't allowed because Republicans changed how time itself works in the House to prevent a vote on tariffs that is allowed under the law. I just want to be clear here, Mr. Speaker, because the stakes are very high. We're talking about whether this House has the authority under the current rules to stop the President of the United States from imposing disastrous, calamitous tariffs that are causing economic chaos, raising prices for regular Americans, and causing uncertainty for businesses. A motion to discharge Ranking Member Meek's resolution is not allowed because Republicans literally changed the definition of what a day is to protect themselves from voting on tariffs. Now, we should have been able to call it up after 15 days, but Republicans are pretending 34 days is less than 15 days. Republicans rigged the rules to protect Donald Trump, Mr. Speaker, and to protect themselves from voting on his tariffs. House Resolution 211, which the Republican majority adopted in March, changed the operation of the calendar. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Asked how that could happen. If you have I mean, nothing like that has really ever happened. We are in uncharted territory, but if you are in charge of if you have the majority, then you run the Rules Committee and you set the rules. So they changed the rules so that this is one long day, so they never have to vote on discharge petitions. It's unbelievable. I've never heard of anything like that happening, but that's the territory we're in. Literally, this is what we're doing now. It's not based in logic. It's just based in anything to protect Donald Trump. That's where we're at. Anything they have to do to protect Donald Trump and allow him to manipulate the economy, they will do.
While delicately carving out an exception for Trump's friends in the Home Office back in Russia. When asked why Putin uniquely escapes the wrath of Trump's global trade war, we're told it's because Trump doesn't want to interfere with the negotiations taking place between Russia and Ukraine for a ceasefire, an explanation that might have somewhat more force if Trump had not made sure that the tariffs do apply to Ukraine, as they do. The basis for this most imbecilic and destructive trade war in the history of the world is the profound economic research and policy writings of one Ron Vera, a completely fictional economist conjured up by Trump advisor Peter Navarro, a real person who Elon Musk just called, quote, a moron and dumb as a sack of bricks.
Also said something else we can't say because it's a slur. That's part of the reason I think the reciprocal tariffs were lifted is because, the attacks were getting pretty intense. Here we go. I'm just making sure I don't miss one.
The whole country is reeling right now from the economic disaster Trump has plunged us into. He destroyed more than $10 trillion in American wealth in a single week. And then he went golfing and bragged to America about winning the tournament at his own golf course. That's like bragging about being endorsed by your own campaign manager. So much winning. The country can hardly stand how much winning Trump is doing for himself and Elon Musk and his billionaire cabinet. Perhaps he could have yelled "4" on the Greenway so tens of millions of Americans could have taken our retirement savings out of the stock market before he hit us in the head with a golf ball.
Jamie Raskin is my hero. I love Jamie Raskin. I love I also love Jim McGovern, but Jamie Raskin is so eloquent. Just love it.
So much winning. The country can hardly stand how much winning Trump is doing for himself and Elon Musk and his billionaire cabinet. Perhaps he could have yelled four.
I don't know why. This is a smart. Sorry, hold on. Finding these clips one by one because I should probably go back in the present. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Found it.
Trump has offered no substantive critique of their legal reasoning, but he and Musk still want the judges impeached. They say they should be removed from office simply for striking down the president's illegal policies, which is odd given that Trump and his party demanded for 4 years that federal judges strike down President Biden's policies like student loan forgiveness or immigration policies or EPA action on climate change. They seem to embrace Marbury versus Madison and judicial review of Democratic presidential actions, but not of Republican actions.
So this is an opportunity, MAGA. This is another lesson in your own idiocy and hypocrisy. I'm going to help you with your logic. If you enjoy the federal judiciary and the Supreme Court, when they rule in your favor, then in order to be logically consistent, you have to also respect them when they do not rule in your favor, or that makes you a giant hypocrite who can't find your way out of a paper bag. Period. If you respect their decisions when they go your way, then you have to respect their decisions when they do not. That's it. Or you're a hypocrite who will never win a debate. So now, based on that logic, because I watched you all celebrate when decisions went your way, then you need to renounce Trump, renounce this bill the House passed. Because eventually, and I'm helping you out here in the future, it will not end up in your favor. Like what we're saying here is, let me give you an example. What's that judge's name in Amarillo, Texas? Kaczmarek. Whenever they want to limit women's bodily autonomy, they go to the same judge in Amarillo, Texas. His name's Kaczmarek. It's called judge shopping. You guys do it all the time. And then he makes a federal ruling and it's applied to the entire country and you guys celebrate. And this bill that you've just passed will stop that from happening in the future. You can't like rulings when they're in your favor and then say, if they don't go in our favor, they don't count anymore, because that will also logically affect you. But I know, you guys, it's not about logic.
Well, they say that's because Trump just won an election. He beat Kamala Harris by 2 million votes. Well, guess what? Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by over 7 million votes. And that didn't stop them from suing to stop numerous Biden policies they thought were unlawful. Sometimes they won, sometimes they lost. It's the same now. Nearly 160 cases have been brought against Trump and Musk's actions. Trump's won some and he's lost some. But our colleagues protest that Trump is different because the courts have issued relief in at least 57 different cases. A record number of cases in American history at record speed. True. But if it seems like an incredible number of cases to lose in less than 100 days, recall that Trump is engaged in a record number of illegal actions at a breathtaking velocity never seen before in U.S. history. As of today, he's already issued 111 executive orders in less than 100 days. Biden issued 162 in all 4 years. Trump can issue as many as he wants, but he's got to make them constitutional, because if they're not, they're going to get struck down.
Did you hear those numbers? That was some basic math that would debunk what you guys were saying, right? That is why it seems like Trump, if you don't want to be struck down by a federal judge whose literal job is to decide if the executive branch and their executive orders are either, I don't know, constitutional or unconstitutional, then don't issue a record number of unconstitutional orders. It's literally that simple. But, well, don't tell MAGA. There's always got to be an enemy. Someone's always against them. It couldn't just be that Trump doesn't know the law. Someone's always out to get them. That's much more likely. But you just heard the math. It makes perfect sense.
Recognized. I want to thank the ranking member for his leadership, and I want to echo his.
Oh, can I just say, this is Joe Neguse. He is I would say, the heir apparent to be the ranking member or eventually the chair of the Rules Committee. If you don't know who Joe Neguse is, this man's a genius. I think he represents like the 4th district in Colorado, either the 3rd or the 4th, or the 4th maybe. You guys can tell me which one. It's somewhere around there, but Joe Neguse is a genius who dog walks people every day. Man, when Joe Neguse speaks, if you never knew what his name was or who he was, listen, he's a genius.
Recognized. I want to thank the ranking member for his leadership, and I want to echo his remarks. It is difficult to listen to this debate, to hear the arguments peddled by my colleagues that are hypocritical at best and intellectually dishonest at worst. Where were my colleagues when 14 federal judges appointed by Republican presidents issued injunctions against policies that the Biden administration was pursuing over the course of the last 4 years? Where were you? Nowhere to be found. I don't remember my colleagues bringing this bill to the floor. Of course not. Spare me your feigned indignation. They talk of defending the Constitution when President Trump is running roughshod over provision after provision. They talk of judicial overreach as they attack judges across the country. Read the Constitution. Read the Federalist Papers.
Can't read, Joe. Sorry, they can't read. And if they do read the words individually, they can't then put them together to make any sense. So, yeah, I already tried that. It doesn't work.
Read about the importance that our framers and founders placed on judicial independence and reflect on what your conduct will do to the administration of justice in the United States of America, to the rule of law that has been sacrosanct for the better part of 2.5 centuries. I cannot believe, I suppose I should, but I cannot believe that my colleagues would waste time on a bill like this, a dangerous bill, instead of addressing the consequential challenges that our country faces. I would urge every colleague of mine, vote no on this bill. And I yield.
I'm going to show you another clip of him dog walking someone, as long as we're on my own line of logic. And again, we will end. Let's get to 500K as fast as possible. The reason I'm kind of hurrying, and it's because I forgot that facts still matter. Steve, at facts still matter. If you're wondering, it's also in the Discord. Someone posted his name, so I appreciate it. Was it Fish Bastion? Thank you, Seabass. Or someone asked when he was debating, and you put 7 p.m. Yeah, so at Facts Still Matter is going to debate in 40 minutes. So I'm going to end live because I don't want to be competing with him for attention, because as we all know, I love him and support him. But I want to show you, which, as long as I'm proving that Joe Neguse can dog walk people. Also, last week I never got to it, but he dog walked Newt Gingrich. Like, this man is a force to be reckoned with. One day, whenever Jim McGovern retires as ranking member of the Rules Committee, Joe Neguse will probably take that role over. And let me show you. So once they have floor debates about these bills, then it goes to the Rules Committee, where the people in the Rules Committee basically attack the people whose bills they are and question them and make them look dumb. I want to show you an example of what Joe Neguse does in the Rules Committee, because I'd hate to face him. He's the kind, the Democrats in the Rules Committee are kind of like the last barrier between these ridiculous bills passing. And this happened. Joe Neguse just ran over, and I need to look up where Jody Arrington, which is not a woman, just to be clear. He's a man, but I just can't remember where he's from. Representative Jody Arrington. But watch what Joe Neguse did to him yesterday. Bless Jody Arrington. So R.I.P. Jody. It's not good. This is like, I mean, this was just the internet's forever.
You posted this on X about a year ago. This is in August of 2024. It's a tweet and it says, "Nobody knows how to get an economy running like President Trump." You still believe that?
I believe that President Trump's economic agenda.
You still believe that?
And if passed his.
Of course, he's from the 19th Congressional District of Texas. Okay, so that explains it. No further questions.
Prologue.
Got it.
We're going to have a red hot economy like we did the first.
Let's talk a bit about the present. So what do you describe an economy running well?
Is that a wig? Someone said it's a wig. I know that guy. The guy from Alabama that wears I don't know. Is it called a wig or it's like a headpiece or something that's glued on his head? But I didn't know that. Is that a wig, what Jody Arrington's got on? No, Joe Neguse is from Colorado. This guy's from Colorado. We're talking about the man he's about to he's about to dismantle is Jody Arrington and from the 19th District of Texas. Like, this is the dog walking of all dog walkings. This was in the rules. A merkin. That's actually the name. I couldn't remember what they call it. I have heard that. I've heard the name merkin. But yeah, I know Mike Rogers from Alabama. And the reason I stopped to bring this up is this is another point of how horrible conservatives are. If you didn't know, Jamie Raskin, the man who we were just listening, be amazing. He's the gentleman from Maryland. He was fighting cancer and had for a while, some days he would wear a bandana, whatever. And to shame and embarrass him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the grossest person on earth, tried to force legislation that said he couldn't wear his bandana even though he was going through chemo because it was wrong. And so to oppose that and defend Jamie Raskin while he's fighting cancer and going through chemo, they said, oh, no one can wear anything on their heads, that all the Republican men that have toupees on better take off their toupees. And that's the only reason they backed down and left Jamie Raskin alone. But I just am giving an example of how awful conservatives are, that they attacked a man fighting cancer and tried to embarrass him and make him take his head covering off. And the only reason they backed out is apparently because so many men in the Congress are wearing hairpieces.
How would you describe that? What parameters would you use?
I would say...
would a recession count?
I would say growing the GDP by almost an entire 1% in 2 years after deregulation, tax cuts, work incentives, good energy policy.
2 years. Because
in 2 years prior to COVID.
It's interesting that you've used 2 years as the marker because, of course, as you know, every economist in the country is now predicting that we will have a recession if we are not experiencing one already. I don't know that most Americans, I'm not an economist, but I think most Americans, whether they're in West Texas or in Colorado, they wouldn't describe a recession as an economy running well. I mean, does that make sense? You don't disagree with that? Right.
I think the American people who voted overwhelmingly and every swing state in support of this president said, I don't want any more of the unbridled spending and failed economic policies of the Democrat Party, with all respect, and President.
Okay, so I just got to correct the lies because I can't even. And I'll give Joe Neguse is on a line of logic. So just to be clear, I've seen people in the chat be like, why don't they correct all the lies? It's because in Congress, I've noticed, this is my observation, but when you're in debate, when you're on a line of logic, you don't necessarily derail the line of logic to correct every lie. But I'm going to correct these lies. I literally can't stand this man. He's continuing to lie. Nobody, first of all, voters, anyways, I've gone through the voter suppression numbers in the swing states. It was not, if I hear one more, oh, it's a mandate, he won overwhelmingly. He didn't even have a majority of the popular vote in this country. We literally got Ross Perot. If it wasn't for RFK pulling votes, this wouldn't have happened. I mean, he would not even be president right now. Stop lying. No one voted for this. And hold on, I need to rewind it and remind myself. There's one other lie.
I think
correct.
the American people who voted overwhelmingly and every swing state in support of this president said, I don't want any more of the unbridled spending and failed economic policies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is, God, how did I forget this part? Yeah. By the way, they're not reducing the deficit. They're not reducing the debt. As a matter of fact, the 47-page and Joe Neguse will get there at the end, but the 47-page budget that the Republicans in the House released, that will still drive us trillions of dollars further into debt. So that's how you know that these people are all pathological liars. They're not saving us $1. All they're trying to do is steal our Social Security, steal Medicaid, steal from the Department of Education to try to offset, which it doesn't even come close to offsetting the tax cuts that billionaires and corporations will receive. If you have not looked at the tax budget, unless you are making over $360,000, you will be paying more. You do not get a tax cut. So there is no savings. As a matter of fact, the Senate budget is double the spending almost. It's $5.8 trillion. So, and you're saying the American voters voted for you guys to save money? You're not saving any money. In fact, you're driving us trillions more into debt.
Of the Democrat Party, with all respect, and President Biden, and the inflation that came with it, and the increased debt that came with it, and the depressed economy that came with it.
That is true. By the way, again, let me help you with the difference. A pandemic and Trump's runaway spending. We're talking about someone who added the third most to the deficit in modern history. Donald Trump spent $8 trillion, sold out U.S. oil and gas, then overspent leading up, said that, don't worry, the tariffs will pay for it. Exactly what he's doing now. They didn't. Biden recovered the best in the G7 from an unforeseeable pandemic. Trump crashed the economy for no reason other than market manipulation. Please don't compare the two.
It's like you're defending a recession. I don't get it. Honestly, let's just level with each other. Let's just level with each other.
I'd love to.
Okay? If a Democratic president were in office, and we're taking actions that were causing a recession, you're going to tell me with a straight face you describe that as the economy running well? Let's be serious with each other. You know that.
First of all, there's not a recession. There is the political courage to reset an unfair trade dynamic with the United States, which I hope you would support.
Okay, so
right?
Stock market collapsing, bond market in turmoil, recession on the horizon. None of that to you constitutes an economy that isn't running well. That's a fascinating. That's a fascinating position to take. You know what's interesting? Okay, how about this? How would you describe a 1,000-point drop in the stock market? How would you describe it?
I would say the stock market rises and falls. It's more sensitive to changes.
Rises and falls. Okay,
it's more sensitive to. Can I just complete my thought?
You answered it. You said rises and falls. It's
changes in policies and a tremendous shift. I think you would agree with the policies of the last administration. Okay, and where this president wants to take our country.
Is it a big deal or not? I mean, filibuster.
Which one?
A 1,000-point drop in the stock market. How would you describe that?
I think it's going to be a much bigger deal when the stock market over the long run improves along with this economy and along with the worker wages.
That's not what you were saying last year. That's not what you were.
Tell me what I said last year.
So last year, here's a statement, a press release from the House Budget Committee. Chairman Arrington on the drop in financial markets and the fiscal decline of the Biden-Harris administration's economy. When the stock market dropped 1,000 points several years ago, you rushed to bemoan President Biden's actions and the economy that he was presiding over. You condemned it. Now the stock market.
He said he should be impeached because of a pandemic that no one can control. Again, the stock market never had to drop. None of this ever had to happen. Investors didn't have to lose confidence in the United States. Countries didn't have to lose confidence. We didn't need to lay off a bunch of people that won't be hired back. None of it had to happen. But that pandemic was completely out of our control. And they said Biden was a criminal for that. So let me help you again with logic. If that was criminal activity, Trump should be in prison. You can't, which one is it? Were you lying then or are you lying now? It cannot be both. You have to choose one.
It drops 1,000 points every day for the last week. And you claim it's the economy running well. Do you understand why that would be a tough argument?
Yeah, but I can explain it to you. Yeah, I can explain it to you. Because you had consistently bad fiscal and economic policies that resulted in persistently bad economic environment for the American people, mainly 40-year high inflation. So this is year after year, quarter after quarter.
Got it.
And we're talking about the first 2 or 3 months of Trump's administration, sure, where we're transitioning from that failed agenda.
I get it.
That's not true. Again, you can look this up. Trump inherited a bull market, an economy that the cover of the Economist said was the envy of the world. We recovered the best in the G7 from the pandemic, and the economy was expected to expand, not contract. The opposite is projected now. So this man is lying, and apparently MAGA enjoys being lied to. I mean, that's what, are you smart enough to get out of the paper bag? That's the question. Or do you want to remain lost in it?
One that's going to put us in a place of a stronger position.
So you want to give him some time. I get it. So 1,000-point drop in the stock market, bond markets collapsing, recession on the horizon. At what point, let's say there's a depression.
Yeah.
At that point, would I be able to get your commitment that you'd say, I don't agree with the president's policies? How far are you willing to go? It's an honest question, because we are likely to have a recession here, again, if we're not experiencing one already in the next couple months. So how much pain are the people of West Texas willing to tolerate? Is a depression enough?
Well, I'm glad you asked me about my people, because I can speak about West Texans. They're thinking about the next generation of farmers and ranchers.
Sure.
And they know that the current conditions and relationship that is just completely and totally unfair will bankrupt the farmers of the future. Secondly, the people.
It sounds like the answer is there's no limit.
The people,
you haven't answered the question.
The people of West Texas will tell you.
No lie, this man won't tell for Donald Trump. Donald Trump bankrupted the farmers once. Our tax dollars had to pay back the farmers. We are still, to this very day, subsidizing the farmers and bailing them out due to Donald Trump's first term with our own tax dollars. And farmers are screaming for help right now, saying if Trump doesn't stop these tariffs, there's no short-term pain. I just will unalive my business. I'll lose my farm. Period. There's no long-term gain in the farming industry. That is what farmers are saying. And because this man has no spine, is lying about the situation that farmers are in. And these are the people you guys keep electing. Great job, MAGA. Keep up the good work.
The day you wake up and you have to beg another country for your food and for your energy, like we have to beg for our drugs to be made and computer chips, you tell me what you would pay to avoid that for your children. And I know you love your children as much as I do. You tell me that there's no.
That's what we are doing. By the way, these tariffs Trump's are doing, the only thing excluded is computer chips. So apparently this man can't read. And one of the only things these tariffs don't involve are computer chips. One of the only things you name is something unaffected. And yeah, we actually are bringing computer chip manufacturing back. That was the Chips and Sciences Act. Thanks, Joe Biden, that Trump said he was going to undo because he doesn't want Biden getting credit for anything. But actually, these tariffs don't have anything to do with microchips, and you seemingly do not know that.
Courage in this town to do what the president's doing, and we all recognize there's some transition and discomfort and pain. No one's denying that.
What you describe as a transition and discomfort,
yes.
Economists describe as a recession.
Yeah, well,
job loss, prices going up, 401ks vanishing. That's what I understand the words you're using: discomfort, transition.
Yes,
those don't mean much to the people of Colorado that I represent, who are going to be on the front lines of ultimately being impacted by the disastrous.
How did they feel?
It's not over. Like, if you think that was bad, watch the real dog walking, because it gets worse. And I'm pretty sure it's like, so then he's just like, oh yeah, you're right. This bill isn't good. Like, basically, Joe Nicuse is awesome.
As you can imagine, Mr. Chairman, I have some questions for you, and you deeply disagree with the approach that House Republicans are taking. First, my colleague from Pennsylvania, Ms. Mary Gay Scanlon, described this, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this right. So the resolution that you are here to testify in support of, you have described as unserious and disappointing, right?
They're talking about the spending bill that's going to bankrupt all of us. The Senate bill where they're spending $5.8 trillion.
This is the bill that you want
correct.
your colleagues to vote for.
What I would tell you is the Senate's attempt at matching the balanced budget resolution of the House fell far short, which was disappointing. And I'm encouraging, as we move forward in the process, to the meat and potatoes of reconciliation, which is the policymaking side, that the House budget targets guide that. But you are correct.
I
was disappointed.
I'm not on the budget committee, so I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. We're going to vote on a resolution today, right? This is the resolution that the Senate passed. That hasn't changed.
That's correct.
Okay, and that bill is the bill you described days ago as unserious and disappointing, right? It's not, it's not a complicated, those are your words.
No, but I don't dispute those words. In fact, I love every time you say it, I want to say amen. Inside my Southern Baptist part of me wants to shout hallelujah.
Well, sure. But I don't know why you're voting for it if that's the case.
Because there are two parts to the resolution in the Senate. There is the part that keeps our fiscally responsible framework for the House, which I implored my colleagues in the Senate to adopt in the upper chamber. They failed to do that.
Okay.
And all I'm saying is, when we get to the combined reconciliation bill and the policies that will ultimately effectuate the changes,
I understand.
That's what the House should drive that.
I understand how you're rationalizing your vote on this. I'm just making sure it's clear for the record, because I don't want to be there to be any ambiguity. I'll just again quote from this article. It says, quote, this is from The Hill. Arrington criticized the budget plan for creating $5.8 trillion in new costs. That's the bill you're asking us to vote for, right?
I said $5.8 trillion in new cost with only a mere $4 billion in spending reductions that are enforceable.
Got it. But
because I have a hard.
Hear what he just said? There's $4 billion in spending reductions that are actually enforceable, and conservatives that are allegedly fiscally responsible are going to spend $5.8 trillion. There are $4 billion in enforceable deductions. They are going to spend $5.8 trillion. This is the chair of the House Budget Committee calling it irresponsible. And still he's going to vote for it because he's too scared of Donald Trump.
Time believing that we're going to do more than what is enforceable and that which we are bound by law, which is why the House is superior. The House is pro.
Again, I recognize rationalizing the vote, just trying to clarify your perceptions of this bill.
Of the Senate's version.
But the Senate's version is what we're voting on.
No, we've got two. That's I admit.
Here's the best part. How you know this man's a liar.
I admit it can be complicated for some, and I'm not being demeaning, but let me explain the complication away and simplify it. The House has a set of instructions that are fiscally responsible, and it's a complete plan.
Oh,
the
I
Senate
see. Are those binding on the Senate? Those instructions?
They are not binding.
They're not binding.
That's
correct.
Interesting.
Okay, so yes.
And that's the concern I expressed.
I hear you, which is why I'm confused that you're voting for the bill. This is a very circular argument. On the one hand, you get where I'm coming from, Mr. Chairman. You blast this bill as unserious and disappointing and as increasing the deficit.
That's what you call boom roasted. So does everyone just get what happened? After lying continuously for 8 minutes, he admits No, there's nothing I can do to stop this ridiculous spending. I just pretended there was. None of anything I do is binding. This is beyond circular logic. Like, he's a liar. He's a gaslighter and a liar. After he tried to be like, some of you might not be able to understand. No, everyone can understand. None of you are fiscally conservative. None of you actually care about waste, fraud, and abuse. None of you are reducing the deficit. You are just beholden to Donald Trump, period.
Blowing up the deficit, $5.8 trillion in new costs. Then you make the case that, well, in fact, there are instructions that the House has dictated, and therefore that should ameliorate anybody's concerns about this bill. But of course, those instructions are not binding. Yeah. So I don't get it. I mean, I hear you.
You're expressing the concerns that I expressed. I think very accurately.
Then why not vote no on the bill?
There's still the concerns I have. So the more you talk about,
still going to bankrupt the country because Donald Trump said he could. This is a man somehow sitting upright in his chair without a spine in his back. It's literally a marvel of modern science, how these people sit and walk upright.
The more I think, my gosh, Mr. Neguse and I actually agree with the concerns that if the Senate's resolution were to guide the reconciliation process, I think we end up at a far less responsible outcome.
Join me in voting no. It sounds like you're a no vote. I mean,
I'm concerned for the reasons you articulated.
Well, I would encourage you.
Giant hypocrite who's going to bankrupt your own constituents in West Texas. Texas is a depressed economy of rural people who are losing hospitals, who are losing schools. And you're sitting here BSing your way through the Rules Committee for 9 minutes. You should be ashamed. Oh, but they're not, because they don't care. None of these people care. That's what I mean. This is the reality of who conservatives are. They're liars. This is the chair of the Budget Committee. He knows exactly what he's doing. Bankrupting middle and lower class Americans. Period. Oh, yeah. And then there's the measles in West Texas, which we'll get to tomorrow. Oh, my God. I saw there was a congressional hearing going on today where Margarine tried to pretend there is not, I'm sorry, what was it she was saying? She was trying to say that RFK Jr. did not cause a measles outbreak in Samoa, which is documented. So we can't, then we could get into the science denying. They might not even believe in the measles at this point. We don't effing know. Oh, I know. It's it's spreading to New Mexico. It's on the border of Texas. Yeah, it's bad. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin, for the giveaway sub. And I feel like I missed somebody else who bought a giveaway sub. That was a long video, but I just want to give Cookie Walton, thank you for subscribing. I feel like I might have missed one more person. Simply Katrina, thank you so much for subscribing. Love you, Katrina. You're the best. I feel like Janice, bought Miss Terry, that's who it was. Thank you for the giveaway sub. Appreciate you. Sorry, I know that was a long video, but I just want to make the point. None of what conservatives are doing is rooted in truth, is rooted in logic. It's just lies. Period. If they had a spine, if they truly were fiscal conservatives, if they would tell the truth. But then again, the night of the long knives would probably take them, right? Standing up to an authoritarian never works very well. But there is in no world that any of these people have the interests of any middle class or lower class Americans. And on that note, since Fax is going, so again, I'm just going to reiterate for the last time, I believe, which maybe I should have double checked, but Gregory says it's happening and Fax's like head mod, so I believe it's happening. And Fax told me at 1 a.m. last night he's doing it. So in 14 minutes, Faxo Matter is going to do some debates to raise money. So 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be watching. I suggest we all watch and support Fax in that. That's why I'm going to end the live so I can get a little snack and then I can be there for that. So Well, I don't know if I'm going to be joining the live. I think in the future, Fax and I might debate together, but I'm definitely I'll be there watching for sure. But I want to make sure I don't want to run the live over and take up time because I think this is important. It'll be fun. In fact, this is the first time he's that I know of at least, that he's done something like this. So I fully support him in this. So just saying, again, it's at Facts So Matter. In now 13 minutes, we'll be going live and debating. So I'll be there either in the comments or, whatever. Linda, thank you for extending your subscription. I appreciate you all so, so much. Thank you for the support. I will see you. Oh, and Vicky, thank you for the $25. I agree with everything you said today, especially about how the MAGA GOP are liars. Thank you. God, they are liars. And I will continue screaming that until they grow spines or are removed from office. I will say this, and I know that yesterday, since we have a couple minutes before I'm going to end, I know yesterday on Matt's Live, if you guys, Matt, USMC Angry Veteran, if you guys watched that live, him and I were discussing how on April 20th, Trump might declare martial law. He might, but also when I listened to Trump out of control rambling, like I was talking about, Trump last night was supposed to just do a little introduction and introduce someone. And he went on a 2-hour rambling rant, and over he was like, we've got to destroy them in the midterms, we've got to stop them, blah 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 blah. So at least he seems to understand the midterm elections will in fact be happening, which at that point I think is our last chance probably. And he was saying, we've got to destroy them in 4 years. I mean, he was literally rambling incoherently, but it sounds like he, at least when he's not thinking and just rambling, that there will be elections. I mean, I'm not saying that means we have hope, but I am just saying he was rambling incoherently and saying that. I think we need to focus everything we have, every one of these Republicans that will not stand up and stop Trump from manipulating the markets and from, enforcing these insane tariffs that are destroying, I guess is more accurate, the American economy, then they need to leave Congress. If there are elections, all of these people, this guy needs to go. Call your Congress people and focus on it. Wait, what did you say, Mark? Sorry. This country is over if the elections get held up even a minute. I know. I agree. And you know me, so I'll just say this is how I am, and this comes from a childhood of trauma where I was raised by one of these people. So just expect the worst, prepare for the worst, but still maintain hope because both are important. But never, ever be surprised. There's no low that people like Trump won't sink to. I will tell you that right away. But yeah, then we go to Scotland, Mark. Exactly. But yeah, I always expect the worst. So if on March 20th, in fact, this weirdo does declare some form of martial law, won't catch me surprised. I'll just be like, I was afraid of this, but he was rambling incoherently, being like, we've got to fight them in the midterm elections. And Trump's problem is he has a cult, not people who are politically active and care about issues. He just has a group of uneducated weirdos who care about him. He's not going to be on the ballot in the midterms, and that's going to not work in his favor. You're the best, Christina. It's okay you're late to class. Just we have 9 minutes. Let's watch Facts debate and support him because that's what we should all be doing. Yeah, absolutely, Jay Nice. Thank you, Gumps. You're the best. And by the way, Gumps, thank you so much for all the things you've gotten me off my Amazon wish list. I talk about it. Starting a business, I reinvest everything back into what I'm doing now. And pretty much I rely on tips and donations. So the stuff you get me off my Amazon wish list is amazing. Thank you so much. You don't know what it means to me. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the chat.